Morning, Raptor Freaks. Alexiot's here Saturday morning after a bad loss to the Brooklyn Nets. But you know what? We're just going to move on from that because we don't have time to waste. We got to play Orlando Magic today now. The game last night, in a lot of ways, we were destined to lose in some ways, but also in some ways, it was just, there's a couple things going on with the Raptors right now that are very tough for them to overcome and maybe like making people think, oh man, this team really sucks, is really bad. Fred said it himself in the press conference after the game. We suck right now. And there's two reasons why we suck right now. We suck for two reasons. We cannot shoot right now. This is really bad how bad we've been shooting in the last week or so, as far as like 3-pointers, open shots missed, shots that are close to the basket that should have just fell in, but they did not for whatever reason. Some of that is poor shooting by the guys and them not doing well, but also some of it is just those kind of bounces that just don't go your way sometimes. And over the course of the season, you get them in certain percentages. You get the bounces to go in lucky, and you get the bounces to bounce out unlucky. And it could be that we're just hitting a really unlucky stretch with our shots and our bounces and all this kind of stuff. Now, the law of averages out over the whole entire season. And if we're going to shoot so poorly right now, in fact, I think we're one of the top three worst shooting teams in the league at this moment. Hopefully something will even out over the course of the season and we'll get better results in that department. But that is a department that we really worry about. That, it seems like other teams shoot so much more professionally and more capable than our team does. That there's something about when we shoot that we just don't have the confidence in our shooters that we should. Gary Trent could be one of those kind of guys, but even with him, we don't have that confidence, that supreme confidence that when he launches the ball, he's going to make it. Now, Gary had a pretty good game last night. In fact, I want to just get this out of the way right now. My 3 stars for the game last night in a losing effort against the Brooklyn Nets are OG Anunoby, Pascal Siakam, and Gary Trent Jr. The 3 of them did the best in this effort from last night. In fact, there's some commendable things about the game against the Nets last night, but there's not very many. The fact that they came out so flat once again and gave up 40 points in the first quarter all over again, just like they did against New Orleans on Wednesday, is so disheartening. So disheartening because they didn't have the effort that we had hoped they would have going into Brooklyn to even kind of, get a handle on the game to try. In fact, they were humiliated. By the halftime, they had been doubled up. Now, when I see doubled up, I hate that shit. I really, really do hate that shit. I love it when it's our side, but I hate it when it's like when we're having it happen to us. And that's what happened last night. Very rarely do we get doubled up like that, where it's like 64-32. And that is really, really bad. That is really, really bad. Nets fan has license to talk a lot of shit to us this year because they're 3-0. They can talk as mad shit as they want towards us, Net Nation. They have free reign to do that. So now it's kind of like, okay, we can't win the season series against them. And they do own us to a degree as far as with a 3-0 record against us. So it's kind of like we have to salvage anything against Brooklyn this year as well. If we play them in the playoffs, we need to beat their ass. If we play them in the playoffs, hopefully we don't. Who knows? Who knows who plays who? But yeah, this is just a sad occurrence of events this week with a couple of really bad games. Now, one thing I'd like to do is avoid a 3-game losing streak before we get a 3-game winning streak. We haven't had any kind of streaks. It's so herky-jerky with our season. It's like win 2, lose 1, win 1, lose 2, and it's all back and forth, and it's never been like, all right, let's win 3, because we were going to try and win 3 against New Orleans on Wednesday, 3 in a row, but we did not, and now we're on a 2-game losing streak. And we're 500, 11-11. Right now, we sit at 500. It's one of those positions where a team has to look at themselves in the mirror and say, which direction do you want to go in? Do you want to go up or you want to go down? And today's opponent is not a team we need to be going down because of. The Orlando Magic, who've only won 5 games this season and are currently on a 7-game losing streak right now. We don't need to help them feel good. And listen, we played last night, but so did they. They were in Cleveland last night getting beat by the Cavs. So the second day of a back-to-back excuse is not valid for today because both teams played last night and both teams got their butts whooped. So no excuses for today. No way you need to lose today. Seriously, if y'all lose today, it's going to be very sad. And people are going to really jump off the bandwagon ship as far as being fair weather Toronto sports fans that just feel like, oh, Toronto just doesn't have it this year for the Raptors. And then they abandon the team. Well, this is a really good, easy way for us to call the non real ones off from the fan nation as far as when we go through this kind of adversity and things are tough. The real ones stick around and go through it. The other ones just go away and they go do other things, and that's fine. They can go ahead and do that. They're not necessarily Raptor freaks like we are. So yeah, if it does happen, we lose today. Well, then we got to get ready for Boston on Monday because they're coming. And I'll tell you what, if we lose the 3 games in a row and we beat Boston on Monday, we'll feel totally different on Tuesday morning just from that. But we need to beat Orlando. We got to play Orlando 3 times in the next week or so. And we want to win all 3 of these games. This is really that kind of test, is to kind of try and, beat this team that isn't that good every single time we get them this season. And they're all jam-packed together. So yeah, man, this sucks. It sucks. All right, Mike, I seen you filled up like a lot already in here, man. I don't know if I want to just make this the Mike show right for the start of my live stream today. So I may consolidate all your comments into like one general idea of what you're saying. So Mike is talking about how everybody is like overreacting from last night as far as with the fans and on Twitter and different places. Okay, go ahead and overreact, people. I don't even know what they're saying because I got off Twitter. Maybe I picked the right week to get off Twitter, so I don't even have to hear their garbage and the dumb shit they're probably saying. But yeah, it is a really tough time for the Raptors. When you get to these dark periods in seasons, every team has them at different times. Don't get it twisted. The Nets, the Sixers, they've had dark periods in their season so far and hard times too. So this is just part of the ups and downs of the season. And listen, the way that they talked after the game, Fred VanVleet and Nick Nurse, makes me feel better that they are not okay with this, that they're not happy with this, and they're pissed about it. They want to make changes as soon as possible. So, all right, let's see what else Mike's saying. He's saying you're talking about Rico Hines. He has a big part to play in designing a role up in the development. This is good at the moment. All right, Mike. Sometimes you just put too much in and it's overwhelming. I need I don't want all this book, man. I'm just gonna start with Bishop. Good morning, freaks. Good morning, Andrew Bishop. Good to see you this morning. And Mike, salute to Bishop. Salute to Logical Raptors Fanatic. Check out his YouTube channel. Seymour, I did not understand your comment. You're saying Pascal, why? Kim Kardashian, why? Gee. Anyway, you can do better, champ. Is Pascal with Kim Kardashian? Or was he with her last night or something? What is this Kim Kardashian thing? Because if he's around Kim Kardashian, no, we don't need him near Kim Kardashian. In fact, she was dating a Raptor a long, long time ago. And that would be whatchamacallit. I forget his name. What was his name? Chris Humphries. Chris Humphries was his name. That's right. That's who Kim Kardashian used to date that was on the Raptors. Now, you telling me that Pascal Siakam has anything to do with Kim Kardashian? I don't like that. No, I don't. And if that is true, I tried to look some stuff on it when I saw your comment for a second, and I didn't see anything specific. So very interesting. I hope that this is not true. It wouldn't make any sense. Why would he be with her? I mean, I don't know. Anyway, Mike's saying, salute Real Ones, Project Truth Always. We're fine. Some downs are good for our team, hardening mentality wise. We're going to come out stronger than from this. Well, I truly hope so. This part of the season so far is really a lot like last season. There's a lot of injury. We're still finding ourselves. We're playing 500 to sub 500 basketball, not really excelling, not really getting loose, not really clicking right. And what happened last year was they had a moment in December where everything just fell into place and that something stuck, and they started rolling after that for the rest of the season, that they figured something out. Well, I want them to figure something out. It's December now, and they're going to need to figure something out real soon, hopefully right around the same time that they did last year, where something just sets into place and all of a sudden, okay, this is what we get. Now, I talked about the shooting already. The shooting is an issue, and they do really, really like make it a big deal in practice. It's not that they're avoiding shooting. It may be partly that our roster construction doesn't have like the steady dead eyes that other teams have, that are just a bucket for sure and make every open shot they shoot pretty much. But listen, the percentages for those guys are just as bad in some periods of the game, the season also. So this is a common thing. Teams go through shooting slouches as a whole team sometimes also. But the thing that's really fucking us up right now, and that is so disheartening and hard to see right now, is the Raptors defense. The defense is never this kind of bad quality where it's just so ineffectual that the other team can just score at will and put such huge ballooned numbers for quarters in games, especially like right at the start of the game. I correctly predicted that Koloko would start the game last night. And I don't know if that was the right move once again. I feel like Claxton really is not a good matchup for Koloko, even though they look like they would be because of their body types. But I think that, you know what? Once again, Kem Birch, man, that's all I got to say. If we don't have a good defensive seal, if we're not able to keep the other team in between us and the basket, I mean, us in between them and the basket, and they don't get behind us, we can be good. But we're not doing that. We're not doing the proper standard of basic defense that the Raptors usually do, even when they were in Tampa. Even when they were a shitty team with lesser personnel at different times, we always had a certain standard and a certain effort that was put out there. And we're not seeing that right now for whatever reason. I think it's, as Alvin and Matt put it last night, a combination of not enough communication, not enough working together, being late to the spot, and things like that. That these are the things that are adding and contributing to such a poor defensive outcome and effort for us. You know, another part of it is that these teams we're playing are incredibly good offensively. You know, listen, New Orleans Pelicans with Zion Williamson and the Nets with Kevin Durant and Kyrie Irving. These are offensive juggernauts. These are the kind of people, like if you go to a street court, a blacktop, and you have to play against that kind of caliber, you're not stopping them. So in some ways, the tall order of trying to stop these players is really hard anyway in general. Now, add into the mix that the Raptors are being a little experimental with things that they're doing right now, as far as Scottie Barnes is trying to establish a low post game. You know, they're trying different things with playing Koloko a lot, and he's a rookie and he makes rookie mistakes. There's a lot of different things that are getting experimented with, and they're not exactly smooth right now or figured out. And that's also contributing to our poor defensive efforts and just our lack of being able to do things effectively. Is we're in a transition period of trying to get Scottie and his game to the next level, orientate and get Koloko involved in the NBA game and a standard that is needed for the NBA. And then, you know, just the other guys are just having cold shooting nights. Fred's not able to hit his shots like he normally does. OG is on and off. You know, Gary has disappeared before, but he's been here recently. And then Pascal, we know we have to realize he was out for a while. And it is true. He's got conditioning issues right now that are affecting how good he was. He came back that first game and was amazing. We're all like, wow, he's amazing. But that really was because he was fully rested. And now that he's played some, he's got to get used to like his legs being tired and getting in game shape more and more. So that is part of the factor with the difference between Pascal last night and Wednesday and with Monday and him being so excellent against Cleveland on Monday. So, yeah, there's a lot to look at and say what's wrong, what's broken about the Raptors right now. Well, those are those two things right there. We're having poor shooting streak, and our guys just aren't hitting shots that normally an NBA team needs to make. And then we're trying new stuff experimentally on the offensive end, And it in some ways it hurts our defense because our guys are a little bit more tired. Maybe they're like not totally like with it on the other end. They've got to communicate and they really have to have their system worked out. And it could be that some of the things that we do defensively are being figured out by the rest of the league. And we're going to have to be ahead of them and get to the next level of being ahead of them because they figured it out. It's kind of like that. It's a race to figure out, okay, this is what they're doing. We can stop them. Okay, now we got to switch and do this differently. And it's kind of a race in that way. So Nick's going to have to kind of like, I don't know. They need the effort, and today they need to do it right. Yeah. All right. So let's see. Fun guys here. I'm not happy at all with how Nurse screwed this team up. At this point, trade Gary or fire Nurse. I don't care. The guys are not feeling Nurse right now. I don't think it's Nick Nurse. And once again, we got to realize this is what the other teams in the league want us to do. He's not the problem. Nick Nurse isn't the problem. There's growing pains going on, and any team would go through these things. It's like we got to understand the whole body and the whole picture of things. Nick Nurse is a fantastic coach, and they would love to have him on all kinds of different teams right now. Like if we got rid of Nick, they get rid of Jock Vaughn and put him in the Brooklyn Nets as their coach like that. Think about it that way. That Kevin Durant really loves Nick Nurse, and he would tell them to do that, and they would. Trust me, they would. So, there's a lot of value in Nick Nurse. It just may seem like things are rough right now, but don't get it twisted. These players are still bought in, and they still really love playing for him. This is just a tough time where things aren't going exactly right. And this is the same kind of argument. Like I'll say a cliche, don't throw the baby out with the bathwater. There's no reason to get rid of Nick Nurse just because of 2 losses in a row. So let's not go that direction. But yeah, I don't know. Like let's once again, Mike's right with this whole spiel at the very beginning. We need to stop overreacting. That this is really like there's ebbs and flows to the season of the NBA, and we're just in a bad place right now. We're literally in a bad place right now. But weren't we in bad places last year also at different times? This is something that we can deal with, and we will overcome it. These guys hate fucking losing. You think that they want to lose? No, they don't. So they're going to change this. You can think about like a tough loss last year to Detroit and Orlando in a row and how bad we felt after those 2 games, that loss to Detroit on that Friday, and how low we felt going into back-to-back on a Saturday morning like today against the Milwaukee Bucks on that Saturday. And what happened in that game? A whole bunch of things got turned around real quick when Bobby Porter got in Pascal Siakam's face and we kicked Milwaukee's ass. And beating Milwaukee after losing to Detroit and Orlando last season really felt real good, and it kind of erased all these issues from just a couple games before. So I really think that this is something we have opportunities. First of all, we have an easier opponent today, but it's not going to be easy. Orlando has some good quality players, but they have not been winning. So we need to continue to keep them in the L column. That, we don't need to be the one that gives them good feelings. Now, if we lose today, yeah, it's going to be even more depressing tomorrow morning. But on Monday, we'll have the opportunity to play against the number 1 team in the Eastern Conference. And if you beat them, you get all kinds of good feelings from that. So let's realize that even though our opportunities have been squandered recently and we've been losing games that we hopefully could have done better or won, we have the opportunity still ahead of us to get big wins and victories that will erase and make everything feel all right. Trust me. Now, yeah, we need to take care of business today. There's no ifs, ands, or buts. We lose the Orlando Magic today, and we lost 3 games in a row. There's going to be even more Raptors fans jumping off the ledge and chicken littling our asses all over the place. That's really what's going to happen. Now, there's going to be a bunch of chicken littling and just saying, oh, I don't want to be on this team and stuff like that. Tom Duke is here. Good to see Tom Duke. Good morning. So many coaches from the couch, but only 30 NBA coaches out of 7.8 billion people. I trust the Raptors and believe any adversity is necessary. Yes, I'm with Tom on this also. That, you get hardened and tempered and by fire. That's what steel is made. And, the Raptors understand this too, that this is part of the process and this will make them better. And, a lot of young players on our team, development, they have to learn, these are the things you can't be doing. Like, I don't want to even dissect the game last night. I could give you a synopsis of what the game was. We got our asses blown out. We got beat the fuck down and humiliated. And then we pulled it back together and didn't give up. And we tried to make a long climb back. And we came close. We had some very threatening stuff happen near the end of the game where they actually had to put Kevin Durant back out there because we were getting so dangerously close. The fact that we shrunk a 36-point lead at some point down to single digits and kind of made it a close game near the end is impressive in some ways. But it was too little too late, and really not enough really to make it a realistic charge where we could actually win. Once again, a lot of mistakes all over the place, whether it's missed free throws, horrible turnovers, not executing when we absolutely needed to execute on the offensive end and made winning plays. All that stuff contributed to too little, not enough, not even close. You're not going to win. But at least the score looks respectable by the end of the game. And the guys, listen, it wasn't even the bench guys. It was Pascal, OG, Fred, Gary. They were out there busting their ass the whole time when we were so far down and trying to make it come back. So I have to give them at least a little bit of credit for that. Let's see. Savage is saying, did y'all enjoy the mid-April Fred VanVleet concert? Yeah, listen, Savage, if we're down and you're going to come and troll at this point, I'm going to have more venom when I come back at you on this. Now, Fred, look, Fred said, we played like shit. And he does really care. And they're going to figure this out. Trust me. Now, let's look at Fred. Since you want to point him out and call him out, Fred was 4 of 14, 1 of 7 from 3, 1 of 2, 6 assists, 1 steal, 1 rebound, 10 points, a -6 overall. Now, Freddie, he has to guard Kyrie. And Kyrie is one of the hardest people to guard in the NBA. And that is a whole huge part of some of it. And then some of it is that he gets guarded very well himself. The NBA doesn't let Fred get his open shots very easy. So this is part of the reason why he's not making as many shots recently. He's going to the basket. Some of that stuff is really hard. And then the open shots on the outside, he's not making necessarily. Fred hasn't been 100% for over a month right now. He's been sick for weeks, and he has been playing still, busting his ass. But he's not totally the normal Fred. We know this. And last year, it was his knee. Well, right now it's a sickness. And I think that once he gets his stamina, he feels 100%, a little bit better, he's going to look totally different. Yeah, I don't appreciate you coming in here and kicking us while we're down. Tread lightly is what I'll tell you. All right, let's see. Logical saying Warren Energy has guys not shooting well. We just stretched the team to the max with all the injuries. Yeah, I don't even know if it's that because we've got so many different guys. I don't know what's wrong with these guys. They got to get it together and figure it out and get we're pissed off. We want to win and we need to do this and we need to do that. They need to find their, motivation. They need to find their deep motivation and remember what they're doing, what for, and why. This is really bad. Cool Boys here. This is part of Scottie Barnes' Twitch family. Twitch fam needs some answers on Scottie Barnes. Raptor Freak, is it time to hit the panic button on him? I personally think he's regressed as a player. Cool boy. All right, let's specifically look at Scottie. Now, Scottie had a career high in turnovers last night. That was the big reason why I wouldn't put him in one of my top 3 stars. But he honestly had a good game otherwise. If he could have avoided those 7 turnovers, 6 of 12 shooting's fantastic. 4 of 7 from the free throw line. He missed some bad free throws that really pissed me off. But other than that, 9 rebounds, 3 assists, and 17 points in 37 minutes. Now, I'm not going to say that. You guys we're his friend, Cool Boy. We got to remember, we're in there and we've been talking to him all summer, and we're his friends, his confidants. And when we are that kind of person, we got to build him up and think and believe in him. One of the things he told us over and over again on his Twitch stream this summer was, don't doubt me. Cool Boy, we cannot doubt him at this point still. I really do think, this is my theory for what's wrong with Scottie, is that he didn't hit his rookie wall last year. He went all the way through. He successfully completed his whole entire rookie season without hitting a rookie energy wall. and that he is just now hitting his energy wall now as far as a rookie wall. This is the thing. It's like, how much did he play at Florida State and how many games? And then boom, he ran through the whole first rookie season of his NBA career, and he was not tired until now. Now he is tired, and I really think that's what it is. You add in a couple of nagging injuries here and there. Maybe he's feeling more of the real world pressures of the NBA as far as demands on him for advertising and appearances, the travel schedule. It is all way more than it was last year in some ways. And that I think that he's just feeling more pressure. I wouldn't count him out. You know that we can't do that, cool boy. He said it to us many times. Don't doubt me. And if you want to doubt him and be one of the people that go in that direction, you go ahead. But I'm not. I'm going to stay with Scott because I know that Scott's going to come through this and he's going to be one of the best players in the league eventually in some of the things he's doing. It's just that he's doing really hard things right now. That low post establishing contact and going through contact and getting it to make baskets up close is hard to do. It's like running through the weeds and all the thorns and thickets are grabbing on you and holding you down, but you're still trying to get through it. And that there's a lot of that. And then, like I said, he has different responsibilities this year. In some ways, they let him do what he wanted to do. And this year, they're more directing him. So in some ways, look, if you're naturally, you can just do what you can do. Last year, it seems easy. It looks easy. The gameplay looks easy. Oh, we can do this. You can do that. That's so easy for him. Well, now he's doing things that don't naturally come to him. He's trying to form himself and get more into his repertoire as an NBA player. And there's growing pains with it. It's not exactly smooth. It's not exactly easy anymore. Now, the things that I don't like about Scott's game are the unfundamental things, the things that he's done all along, but he never got burned for it until now. And that's no looks and like just making flashy passes. I don't mind that stuff when you're not turning the ball over and you're accurate, but you're throwing the ball away in ugly, dumb ways a lot right now. And in some ways, we don't need the extra flash or the extra, unfundamental parts of it, Scottie. We need you to just straight up do the perfect ball pass, like, a bounce pass, whatever pass, just get it to the target. Because sometimes these passes, they may look good and they may catch the defense off guard because you throw a no look, but sometimes they're not accurate and they're coming off the people's hands or they're not even where they were and they have to lunge and reach to get the ball. You want to make sure that those passes that you're throwing to other people, Scott, are exactly on a silver platter, exactly where they need to catch it to have the highest success. You can go and ask Alvin Williams, Magic Johnson, Isaiah Thomas, all kinds of great point guards from the past, that you set up your teammates for success by giving them the ball exactly where they want to get it. And when you do the extra flashy stuff, sometimes you're not accurate enough. We need you to work on accuracy with your passing and not all the flash. The flash is nice. You can look back at somebody when you're about to dunk the ball, but when you fuck up and you don't make that shot, then that looking back is looking like it's a stupid mistake. So that's what I'm saying, Scott. You can do all this flashy stuff, but you better be fundamentally good and not messing up if you're going to do the flashy stuff. So that's part of what's going on with him there. But I really do think he's going to be fine, cool cat. And let's get off the ledge. We don't need to be like a lot of other people that are way overreacting today. This is the Brooklyn Nets. They have 2 top 75 players. And once again, Kyrie Irving killed us and beat us himself. That's 3 games this year that Kyrie Irving has absolutely been the man for the Nets and destroyed us. So, all right, let's see. Fun guy saying, I'm just mad because I'm always proved right. Pistons, the only team to prove me wrong. New Pels was a loss in Nets. The bad matchups pop up to my eye pretty easily. Well, if you're like me and what I do on this channel, Fun Guy, you're handicapping it. You're looking at the paper and you're saying, well, it's this and this and this against this. Yeah, I didn't have good feelings about the game last night. But once again, I was like, okay, well, we didn't have good feelings going into the game against Dallas and Luka last Saturday. But, they won that game. So I leave myself open to the realm of possibility of things going right and everything working out. Now, the Pelicans game, I actually felt good about going into. I thought we could handle them and we were going to win that game. But last night, I was a little sheepish on saying, yeah, we're going to beat Brooklyn because it's Brooklyn at home. It's a Friday night, which we have not won on a Friday night, and Ed Malloy is present. So yeah, I mean, you could see that it was going to be a tough task last night, no matter what. But yeah, Randolph Phillips is here. Good morning, beloved Raptor freaks. Most informative gang. I bring blessings. Our team would be all right once we get our act together. Let's go Raptors. Yes, thank you, Randolph Phillips, for your daily blessings. And yeah, let's just keep trudging on, y'all. It's a long NBA season. In some ways, you know what? Sometimes in these bad times like this, we need to have gratitude that we're not a really bad team. It may seem like we're a really bad team presently right now, but look, we could be a way worse team in this league. We could be Orlando. So that's what I'm saying, y'all. We got to keep it in perspective and have gratitude. When things are the most tough in your life, if you look at the things that you're most appreciative of, we have Masai Ujiri. Then you can things can start brightening it up and looking better. Like today, it's a very crappy weather day here. There's a lot of rain and it looks gloomy as hell. It doesn't even look like the sun's come up yet for the day here in Toronto. But you know what? I've noticed that when it rains in Toronto, we have a home game, we win. So hey, there's that at least. The sun may not come out tomorrow, and it's not this morning. And once again, I'm singing Annie, but that may not matter if the sun comes out or not, because when the Raptors have an overcast, rainy day in Toronto on a home game, they win statistically. I've been paying attention to this. I was like, oh, it's raining. Well, the Raptors are going to probably win today. And that's just how I feel about it. G saying, I thought Barnes had a better. Okay, it jumped. Sorry about that. Okay, let me get back to where G is. Wow. Okay, you guys did fill it up. This is good. I thought Barnes had a better game, some bad passes and turnovers, but the aggression was there at least. That's a start. He will clean up the turnovers. He's playing a different position this year. Yeah, that's part of it too, is that he is kind of more ball handler and he's going to have the ball in his hand more. He's going to get more turnovers. G's echoing what Nick Nurse said when they asked him about Scottie Barnes last night. He said he worked his ass off. He really enjoyed his effort out there, and he really did. Like he was busting his ass out there. It's just, in some ways, it's like we're in the development level where Koloko and Barnes are that I've just described, and that in some ways they're gonna elevate us to the next level once they break through and they get more consistent. And they feel better. Like Pascal, OG, these Chris Boucher, these guys can do what they've done. What they've elevated us in times in the past. Well, in some ways, it's time for our young guys to get more consistent and figure out that place, and that'll elevate our floor from where we go on our team in some ways. But yeah, I think Barnes was fine last night, other than the turnovers. Having 7 turnovers was really, really bad. And it is the thing that stands out the most about his game last night, unfortunately. All right, let's keep going. Mike saying, no problem, Lex. Today is a tough one for the real ones. Wanted to ease the worry. No problem, man. Well, in some ways, we do need to kind of take this and feel it, because we need to have the dichotomy between the feeling like shit when you lose and how great it feels when you win. That is so true. Somebody said that this week. That I think it was Nameless or somebody, that you have to have the feeling of both to understand. You need to know cold to know hot. You need to know good to know bad, or bad to know good. It's just how it is. Cowboys here. Ta-da. The brothers ta-da for all your needs around the house. In fact, to Bradley, I think Omari wants to get in touch with you for a job. So if you see Duppy Conquerors in the fantasy league, ask him what job he needs, because he sent me a message about needing you guys to do a job for him. So maybe write a message. It doesn't even have to have anything to do with the trading or the fantasy league, to Duppy Conquerors in our Yahoo league, because he said that he needed a job for you guys done. So there you go. The brothers Tada, they'll come to your house, clean it, wash the windows, carpet cleaning, they'll do remodeling, anything handy you need done around the house. Call Tada. They're in the phone book in the 416. Savage is saying Chris Humphreys. That's right. It is Chris Humphreys. Now, seriously, I hope that he has nothing to do with Kim Kardashian. Pascal, you got anything to do with Kim Kardashian, you need to stop it right now. You need to stop that shit right now. You are fucking with the Raptors life when you're fucking around with them. Okay, let's see. Seymour saying Kanye said Pascal smashed his wife. That's what he said. He said that Pascal had sex with Kim Kardashian. That's the rumor, Seymour, is that Kanye West is going around saying that. Oh my gosh. I don't know. Kanye is Kanye too, though. I'm like, he's a little paranoid at this point when it comes to Kim Kardashian, especially with the way he dealt with Davidson the last couple years. Okay, well, that's interesting news. Now we're getting a little bit more like tabloid here. I don't know the validity of this. I don't want to believe this. I want to believe that Pascal has better taste. Let's see. G saying last year, I believe they had a worse record at this time or the same. Yeah, that's another thing about perspective. We were just as down on the team at this time last year. We had all the negative naysayers saying, well, we're not going to make the playoffs. We'll be lucky we make the play in. We're a shitty team. They're saying all the same shit right now. So this is just par for the course. This is just normal growing pains and tough times during the season. And, the real ones separate themselves from the non-real ones. And the real ones are here with me today. And the non-real ones are jumping off ledges and chicken littling or going and saying, I'm going to just watch the Leafs now for the rest of the season. You know, G saying Kanye said that where? Wasn't it Chris Paul? Isn't it all BS? Sheesh, we don't need this drama. Well, this is kind of silly drama. In fact, maybe it's a good drama because it'll distract the idiots and maybe they'll talk about this more than actually how they're playing on the court. I don't know. Let's game this to be a good thing in some ways because maybe it'll keep them distracted off the poor play that we're playing. Oh, they all want to talk about Kim Kardashian and Pascal today. Okay, go right ahead. It may be a good alternate topic. Let's say. Callie's here. Good to see Callie Mayer, a great Raptor freak. Just got back from the holiday. Team looks a little lost. Yeah, I think you're right, Callie. Just a little bit like this is one of those times where they're just like, well, what are we made of? What are we going to do? Well, having a game against the Orlando Magic today is a really good, helpful way to hopefully set the table to get back in the right direction. And that's what we need to do today. This is the Orlando Magic. Let me see their injury report for you guys real quick. We'll kind of be mixing the reaction and the preview together. Obviously, our injury report is still Precious Achua and Otto Porter Jr. They are out for us. And meanwhile, the Orlando Magic has quite a laundry list of players that are out. Jonathan Isaac, that idiot, he's out with his hamstring. Wendell Clark is out with his foot. Jalen Suggs is out with his ankle. Chuma Akiki is out with his knee. Gary Harris is out with his hamstring. And Mo Bamba out with his back. So, Orlando's missing a lot of players right now. And who they're playing right now is like Cole Anthony, Franz Wagner, Mo Wagner, Paulo Banchero, and Bobo. That's kind of their starting lineup, but they do have Markelle Fultz back right now, Terrence Ross, and RJ Hampton. That's kind of their team right now. And then Caleb Houston, of course, the rookie from Mount Verde with Scottie. So, yeah, they're an interesting team, but they have not been winning. And we need to continue that streak for them, that they continue to lose. And hopefully this will be the good things that happen. So Tom Duke's saying that Chris Paul said that about Pascal. Okay. G saying last year when Pascal came back, they looked discombobulated for a bit and then went on a 7-game win streak. Yeah, that could be part of it also. Like G's trying to look at past patterns from last year, and he didn't exactly meld right back into the lineup and look like everything was smooth right away. That last year there was a little bit of a transition period with him coming back into the lineup. Now we had such a good time on Cleveland on Monday that we were like, oh, he's just melding right back in. He's picking up where he left off. Well, maybe that was folly to think that, because he is kind of having a hard time in the next 2 games actually getting things exactly right for himself. Because the thing about Pascal right now is, he is always such a pronounced, like, I'm doing this and I'm making this shot when he's on, and he's disappearing for too long in periods of games where he just doesn't get a basket or do anything on the court. He's kind of just running up and down the court. Maybe he's doing good defense. Maybe he's trying to catch up on that because our defense is so bad that he really has to force more of his energy out on defensive end. And he's not able to really see, part of the problem is our defense is so bad. And once we get behind, all of our energy goes towards fixing the defense. And then the offense suffers to a degree. This is kind of like a weird phenomena. And part of the reason why it's good to get going on the right, it's kind of like being on a bike. If you can't keep up steady on the bike, you have to put your foot on the ground, and that slows you down. And that's kind of part of the problem as we get behind and they're playing so well on defense, we have to up our defensive intensity by the urging of the coach. And our offense suffers because the energy is getting all expended just trying to stop the other team. That is a big part of the reason why our offense looks so bad right now is we're getting in holes early, and then we're having to expend almost all our defense on just stopping the other team. So hopefully we can get more capable, like help each other on defense, so it's not such a workload as far as like energy expended just to catch up and get close to getting some sort of good defense on them. We've got to establish our great defensive system and the way we like to play defense once again. It has gone wayside in a couple of games recently. Oklahoma City, New Orleans, and the one last night. And that's scary because that is our bread and butter and something we always thought, okay, at least we can depend on. We're going to have a really good defense, but we don't have that right now. That we really don't have a good defensive team right now. And that's scary because that is really who we are and our identity. And that's part of the reason why everybody's flipping out is we're not the normal Raptors. And when you don't have that defense, that baseline of effort and defense that we always show no matter what, then we're like, what the fuck is wrong with us? Who are these guys? You know? All right, let's see. Bishop saying Philly has been dead and buried twice this year. That's right. Philly's been dead and buried a couple times this season. The Nets were dead and buried this season. You know, it's just happening to Eastern teams a lot. If you're lucky, like Milwaukee and Boston, and not have any kind of bad periods so far this season, good for you. You're lucky. Hopefully, you won't have any. Well, I hope you do, but we'll see. Kanye said both. Okay. Now, with Kanye, I don't really take anything he says at this point seriously because something he's saying about he wants to be called Yitler. Yitler, like he said something about his two favorite people in the world are himself and Hitler. I don't know. So you take that with a grain of salt. He's going to start going around saying that Pascal slept with his ex-wife. Well, he's also saying that his hero is Hitler. So I mean, how much do you want to really put anything to what he says? Fun guy saying, laugh my ass off. Pascal don't do that shit. He sticks to himself and probably just sleeps with some Raptors cheerleaders or something, laugh out loud and staff. I don't know. I've speculated about this aspect with the NBA players on our team. It's none of my business. It's their private life. I mean, who knows? They could have, phone numbers for certain services here in Toronto. And that because of their policies, nobody knows about this stuff, and rightfully so. It could be very much like that certain players are into calling these services and they get little friends that way. And there's nothing wrong with that. I mean, Toronto has a very good economy for that here in this city. Trust me. And, but, I don't know. It doesn't seem like him to want to make it a big wave. And you're right. This isn't really kind of like his MO. And like, we haven't seen Pascal talk about women in his life or any kind of like girlfriends or anything on any kind of social media anywhere. And this would be a really weird way to debut his romantic life by Kanye saying that he slept with his ex-wife. So yeah, I really don't believe the validity of this whole thing in a lot of ways because it doesn't totally add up Winder style as far as the rumor that Seymour Pape has presented to us this morning. So very interesting. I'll do more research. And of course, if there is more to this, we'll talk about it as it comes out. G saying, I refuse to believe either Pascal or CP3 did that. Laugh my ass off. Yeah, you'd be surprised, though. The world is weird and crazy. You'd be very surprised. But I hope it's fake news. Tom Duke is saying, show me fake news. All right. It's a good little distraction in some ways on a sad, dark day in a Toronto morning here. Good morning, Monique. Good morning to you. Thank you for being a light in the tunnel at the end of the game last night. Monique with a nice wrap up, right? And really saying a lot of important things like, y'all don't give up on this team. Y'all, all right, you want to separate and go away. You don't want to be around this losing. Go ahead. But you're not a real one. And that is just how it is. G saying Kanye indirectly trying to hurt Drake by going after the Raptors, figured it out. That could be very well it in some ways. I don't know. Does this really hurt us, though? It's just bullshit. And I don't think that Pascal's going to be affected either way about it. I mean, everybody has talked about the Kardashian C word, and I don't like talking about that C word, but I don't think it has anything to do with this situation. I really don't. I don't see this. I'm going to have to do more research, though. Seymour saying everyone's entitled to their own opinions. When it comes out, remember where you heard it first. Well, we'll definitely give you credit, Seymour Pape, for sure. And we're not trying to make fun of you or anything. I don't get it wrong. I'm really like perplexed by what you brought to us today. I don't know if it's right or not, or true or not. It's just to me, it really smacks of TMZ kind of stuff. And I don't know. This doesn't seem like Pascal's MO or his personality. But we will give you credit if it does turn out to be truthful. Forgetful saying Jason Tatum went 0 for 7 on threes last night. Time for Boston to fire the coach. Yeah, see, Forgetful is giving such a good example of like an overreaction. It's like, oh, Jason Tatum went 0 for 7 last time. The Boston fans telling them to trade to get him off the team? No, people have ups and downs. It's just how it is. All right, Mike's saying, I believe this is planned. MJ used to push his body to the point of exhaustion in practice shooting and then to be able to adjust when needed. It's like pushing the limit to where big gains are made body wise. Yeah, I can see this in some ways that you want to be so exhausted that you trained your body that when you are in game situations in the playoffs where you have to push your body past a limit that you kind of like have to train that way in certain ways. I get this, and I know Greg has talked about this on his channel on Gubstown Cling about really building a callus in your body as far as like work strength, as far as taking on a workload, never getting tired. And that's part of it with Pascal specifically. Is he said last year, I can't afford to be tired. Well, he has to build up his not being able to afford to being tired again right now because he took so much time off recently. And maybe he'll have it back like within a week or so or within the next month. So I think Mike's right with this, that it may be that Pascal, I don't know, he needs to be producing more. Let's just put it that way. Let's look at what he's saying on here, or his stat line. It was 7 for 15, 1 of 2 for 3, 9 of 11 at the free throw line, 7 rebounds, 4 assists, 1 steal, and 24 points. That's not horrible. He could have stepped up and made more of an impact on the game in general, though, in some ways. Okay, so Seymour's saying this is all on TikTok. Okay. All right. Well, I'm going to go investigate. I'll investigate when I get off here. Isaac saying Siakam has no legs under him. We struggle when Siakam struggles or is out. We talked about that for weeks when he was out. As the team scrambled without him, time and patience. Yes, Isaac Campbell. Stay positive and stay like grounded in reality for reasoning for why things are happening with what's happening with the team. Our fun guy is saying, guys, do not forget this exact same stretch happened when Pascal came back last year too. The exact thing. It's chemistry issues and intense practice is needed again, just like last year. Well, let's look at last year then and see, well, this period when he came back and it was difficult, what happened? All of a sudden it clicked at a certain moment in December and boom, we were off and running for the rest of the year. And maybe this can very similarly happen this year. I don't know if these guys know what happened last year to make it happen last year and they could try and work towards that again. But it seems like if they could get that kind of moment, like Nick said, all of a sudden in early December last year, something just clicked and they started winning and playing better overall all around. And maybe that can happen this year also, something that mirrors something like that. And hopefully it'll probably have to do with what you guys are talking about as far as Siakam's conditioning and him being reintegrated into the lineup smoothly. G saying Raptors went through a mini rebuild. Kawhi left, Serge and Gasol, great vets left. Traded Norm for a young Gary, went to the lottery and got Barnes, got Koloko. There will be growing pains. Yeah. We have such a crazy standard. Our fans are so crazy. You guys want perfection. You're nuts. Well, the fact that the Raptors flirt with perfection so often that sometimes you're very appeased is great. But some of y'all will never be happy. They could do everything perfectly right, and you're going to diss the one player who didn't play well, even if we won by like 20 points. There's no pleasing some people. They will just find anything to pick apart. So when there's a lot to pick apart, they seem like they're right, but they're not. Let's just put it that way. They're not. There's going to be time and everything will come out in the right way. Savage is saying being in the same spot from last year means no progression. mid basketball club. This guy. All right, you know what? You're getting real close. Now, this is the thing. You can be in the same spot, but you can come back and change and elevate, just like we did last year. We were in a bad place last year. And, that doesn't speak anything. In some ways, we're better than we were at this point last year. In some ways, we're struggling a little worse, but it's applicable. But, listen, that kind of comment is going to get you fucking like booted, seriously. So very tread lightly. You got 2 strikes now. You give me one more like that on a morning where I'm pissed off about a game like last night, I will boot your ass. So let me just put it that way, Savage. Guardian Transit's here. Let's face this, our team built on defense does not always lock in. Could you imagine being a mouse in that dressing room? We are 25% through the season, so should be no excuses. 13 players returned. Yeah, that's the thing that makes everybody panic right now is the defense is not looking correct. And that is something that we have felt steady about. Like in a lot of games that we've lost in the last couple of years, we've at least kept close and we've had certain baselines and certain things that we've kept intact, even though we lost this close game or we never get blown out. Like that's the problem is that we're losing games in a different kind of way right now than people aren't used to in Raptors Nation. That normally it's like, okay, well, we keep it close and then we lose like a heartbreaker because it's a close game. It's hardly ever a huge blowout. And like last night early and we're fighting back. But at least we fought back and we closed the gap to like a single digit loss. So that's pretty good. It was single digits by the end of the game. Yeah, it was 9 points. So yeah, I mean, listen, we're 25% through the season. You're right. But there's still a whole lot of time. That's 75% of the season. And, you look at it this way. How many wins do we have so far this season? We have 11. If we look at each month, we need to get like around 10 wins around there, like each month or so. Now, I know that's over the month and a half of October and November. But, we want to stack and we want to get to 45 wins at least, if not closer to 50. Let's just see how they all lay out as the season goes on. And it's just we're in a really bad place right now. And sure, we can overreact exactly about how we are right now, but let's give them some time to adjust and figure it out. And they will, trust me, they will. Forgetful saying Savage, last year it took until mid-season to get to 500. Exactly. So we're not as bad as last year, but we're seeing a similar pattern to some things. And the similarities are Pascal's injury, Pascal coming back, and him being reintegrated in growing pains when he first comes back, is what we're saying. Lolita's saying, hey, Raptors freaks, what are you saying? We just hit a small wall. We have been in almost the same situation before. Trust that we will overcome. Trust that the boys will get it done. It could be a lot more dire. We could have a way longer losing streak like some of the other teams. Like Brooklyn had a long losing streak this year already. You want to know how bad Nets fans were going through that at the beginning of the season when they could only beat us and they lost every one of their other 10 games that started the season they only had one win against us. So, it can be real dark at different times. And now they're going on streaks and they're getting their record right. And they're looking way better now at this point, the Nets. So it's like there's ebbs and flows. And right now we're on a low, but we will rise again. And don't count us out. Top saying it's not about Nick Nurse. It's about player effort. Fred is the leader. And in his prime years, he's lost a step on both ends. And relying on a point guard who can't finish in the paint to be consistent isn't logical. Yeah, well, all right. We're going to sharpen our knives for every single one of our guys, whether Scottie, Nick Nurse, Fred VanVleet, Gary Trent Jr. I mean, listen, I don't think Fred's fully healthy, and we'll just have to see how things go. Hopefully things will get better for him. He'll start shooting his shot and making it better. But, he's a streak shooter to a degree also. He's a little bit more consistent than Gary overall because he will find a way to make at least one somewhere, somehow. But he's definitely not on right now. Like some of his open threes don't look good right now. And we need to give him a chance to get his feet back under him and get his shot going better again. I said this to Fred when I met him in person. I believe in you. I know your shots are going to start falling again at some point. And this was in 2019, and it was before we won the championship. So I say the same thing. Fred is going to come up in big ways, and when it counts, really matters. Right now, it's learning and getting the team going and revving the engine up to go in the right way, in the right direction, and that's up the standings. And right now, the engine's not totally revved up right, or started right, or running right. So we're gonna fix this. We're gonna tinker with it, and we'll get it right. Let's see. G saying forgot to add, did a sign and trade of Lowry for Young Precious. This is how it looks at times with the young team. Patience. Yeah. Yeah. There's different timelines here. You have these really crazy win right now, rabid people. And I'm kind of with them in some ways. And then you have these people that are like, oh, we're long term. We just got to think about championships in a couple of years from now. Well, I'm not totally like them. I'd like to win one this year or next year. So I am kind of like, it's weird kind of hybrid of development and trying to win at the same time. Once again, what the Raptors are doing. And it's kind of hidden like that, listen, we probably are more of a development team just because of our youth overall. And that, maybe it isn't good to expect 2023 NBA champions Toronto Raptors right now. But I'm still going to do it because I believe you don't limit yourself to what height you can get to at any point. That at any time in the NBA, you can get on a good win streak and get good things going. And boom, all of a sudden you fucked around and got another NBA championship. So anything's possible. And we just need to figure out what our timelines are. Are you thinking a short-term timeline? Are you thinking a long-term timeline? Are you thinking in like a middle timeline? And maybe you are just in the moment and you're absolutely just reacting to the last thing that happened, whether it's good or bad, and really just sitting there. And this is who we are. Well, I think a medium timeline or even just kind of like a long-term timeline with the allowance that we could win at any time before you think they might win is the best way to really look at this. If anybody's really too present and just on top of just right now, and this is who we are, y'all need to stop because it really is. You got to have perspective when you root for an NBA team and understand how it all works with progression and getting better over time. And that is really a big part of what the problem is with the fans is they don't have that perspective. They cannot grasp it. Let's see. Monique is saying to those reading this, can fans just stay together? That's right, Monique. Monique is saying, y'all just stop, please. Just keep it together and let's stop freaking out. Freak out in the right way, like a Raptor freak would. Bishop saying, stay calm, move on to the next one. Exactly. That's a game. The game's over. It's done. We can't change anything about it. Congratulations, Brooklyn Nets. You won. And now we got to go and play Orlando today. So no rest, no time to feel sorry for yourself. Time to pick yourself up and go get the next one and change things back to the winning ways is what I'm talking about. Fun guy saying, my blame on Nurse is the benching guys that made our roster last year and make our team. He fucked with team chemistry, and that locker room is very toxic right now. Trust me, Lex, it's all in body language. Yeah, I don't believe that. I think that they're more just soured and weighed down by losing right now. I think that they're just like, all right, listen, I think part of it is they're exhausted. I think part of it is that they're all banged up in certain ways. And there's just different issues that we're not seeing. The one thing that could be a problem right now is if Scottie's like causing problems on the team just because he's having a weird attitude around the team. But I don't think that's what's happening. I don't think that's what's happening. I think that the team is just like a low energy and they're just failing. And maybe they're not used to it. I don't think there's fingers getting pointed each way. I don't think it's anything like that. I think that they really do take accountability on each of their own levels on themselves, that they can look at their report cards and they can figure out and say, okay, yeah, I'm not doing well in this way and this way. Now, trying to get out of a bad rut against New Orleans beat us, and trying to get out of the rut against the Nets on a Friday night in their building is not easy. So it was like really not an easy game to try and get some good feelings going against Kevin and Kyrie in Barclays Center. So there's a lot of different stuff. Now, I don't want to paint a picture or even say that there's a toxic problem inside our locker room with our players right now. I don't believe that. These guys are one for all and all for one, and they really do genuinely like each other. Like if a fissure happened in the locker room, I'm sure they deal with it very quickly and figure it out and get that stuff out of the way. That I don't think that's what it is. I don't think that's what it is. I think that they're just having a hard time getting it together. And that when it struggles are really tough on offensive end, it just makes things really, really hard. It just makes things really, really hard. All right, let's see. Starscream saying, hey, Lex, sucks that the refs didn't let you guys play last night, but I'll take the win, of course. That is Nets fan. And he's coming in. He's actually not being that bad. The refs weren't too horrible. There were a little bit of things that were really annoying. They were kind of assholes, sure. But for the most part, we can't blame them as usual. It really is a poor play by us. But I don't. They didn't really stand out to me as some people that were really kind of fucking us over last night. There was a little bit of the kind of stuff that happened on Wednesday, where the referees were like, "We're giving you text, and we're not going to listen to you, and just be a stonewall." So you know what? Maybe I should say the rest were assholes. This Nets fan thinks that they were assholes to us. I just wasn't going to bring them up today as an excuse because it really is the crux of our problem was a team effort last night. And the referees, yeah, they didn't help, and they did have a little bit of standoffs with Nick Nurse and Fred VanVleet and different people at different times with different issues. And yeah, I don't know. Nate Green's a good ref. I really like Nate Green. He's a fantastic ref. Now Ed Malloy, I fucking hate his ass. And he was a little bit of a weirdo last night. And I don't like that challenge call that we lost. I really don't think Pascal, they were very defiant. They're saying, no, we got it right. It's a foul on Pascal. I didn't think that was the right call. If he got him very little, like with his body. And that's so stupid. That's such a touch call. And especially infuriating and insulting when your guys are like hammering us, Starscream, the Nets are hammering us, and we don't get any respect or get any get to the line hardly at all. Although we did get to the line more than you guys last night. Let me look at the team stats since he's here, and we can, go over it all. They shot way better than us, obviously. But, we shot so poorly by halftime. We were shooting 22% from the field or something that at the end of the game, we shot 44%. That's actually pretty impressive that we brought our number that much. And if we look solely at the second half, we outscored them 56-42. So we actually outscored them by 14 points in the second half to try and close that deficit, that huge, crazy ass deficit. But 41-17 in the first quarter, that is absolutely awful. The second quarter was pretty even. We actually outscored them by 1 point. Now, 3-point shooting was dreadful. That's a place where we got to hit open threes. Meanwhile, you see the other end, the Nets were hitting a lot of open threes. In fact, Joe Harris woke up and he did some good stuff for them last night. Kyrie obviously hitting threes. And then Ty Warren showing up and playing for them for the first time in 2 years was a huge boost. And he played very well for them. And is exactly what the announcers were saying. This is the perfect kind of game for him to come back and really get good feelings going because he was motivated. And it was that scrappy kind of game where he thrives. So in some ways, congratulations to Ty Warren to get back out on an NBA court. I know that it's scary when you're hurt for so long and you don't know if you'll ever play again. And him getting back out there in some ways, that's nice to see for a player, even if it's a net and we don't like them. As far as the free throws, we got to the line more than them, but we had a lot of misses that were kind of cringe, Scottie in particular. But otherwise, we shot better than them. They missed way more free throws, and we did get more attempts. So we did win that. The rebounds, we won by 2, and we did get 11 offensive rebounds. So we did way better on the rebounding than we did on Wednesday night against New Orleans. The assists were pretty bad, 16 assists, and they got 27. And Kevin said, actually, Kevin Durant said he thought they should have had way more assists, the Nets, than 27, that he was kind of disappointed with the number of 27. I'd be like, I will take that if that's the Raptors number for assists. And you're saying that wasn't enough for y'all's team. The turnovers we won, the points in the paint we won. It really is that we just shot really bad, and they came back on us. I mean, we were trying to come back on them, and there's nothing we can do. There's nothing we can do. But Starscream, thank you for coming in and being respectful. And congratulations. I mean, y'all have won the season series already. We cannot say that we're going to beat the Nets this year until we play them in the playoffs and we beat them there. That's the only way we can do it now this year because they've got the 3-0 deficit over us. We could save a little face and maybe win the last one against them back here in Toronto in a week. So we're going to get all these games against them out of the way. Mike Sands, so the team getting playoff experience and fixing the issues for real and developing more options to win in the playoffs and working out the kinks isn't progression. Savage, relax. Yeah, Mike, I unleash you. And if you want to go pit bull all over Savage this morning and just rip him up, please. Any one of y'all, rip up Savage as much as y'all want to. Normally I'd say go nice on him, but he wants to come at us like this morning when we're down and out. Get him if you want to get him in the comments. Any of them that's talking like this. Now, Louis here. Let's see if Louis is going to continue his bullshit. And if he's going to do it too, then y'all can get him too. All right, let's see. Louis saying, Louis back, and I'm right. This is an okay fringe playoff team. I think Barnes needs energy back. The defense was really bad last night. I'll agree with that. The defense was really bad. Barnes needs energy back. Yeah, I really do feel like he's ran into a rookie wall in his sophomore season. I'm going to keep saying that because it's what it smacks of. It's what it looks like. It looks like a normal rookie that gets to the end of their rookie season and they go through this kind of shit. Well, it's just happening delayed. And in some ways, that's more impressive and a compliment to him in some ways. So I don't know. I won't say that we're just an okay fringe playoff team. We're going to still right this ship and do just like something similar like we did last year. And we'll get a home. This time we'll get a home court advantage. I think we'll be top 4 still. I'm still saying it. I don't give a shit what happened last night or against New Orleans. We're still going to be a top 4 Eastern team before the end of the year. Y'all just watch. G saying, thanks, Starscream. Refs were horrible. Ed Malloy hates the Raptors, but so was our shooting and rebounding. Yeah, the refs didn't help, but it really is our fault that why we lost. Nako saying Scottie had some real good highlight plays last night. I like that dunk that he took with force late in the game when the situation we're trying to come back. That was really good reading and just aggressiveness, and he went up correctly. I wish Christian would be more like that. Christian, you're way too sheepish around the basket. You need to come up with it strong and throw it down. That you're letting too many bunnies not go in because you're not doing that. You got to be like OG. OG rises up. He just elevates and throws it down. He doesn't care who's around him or what they're trying to do when he's underneath the basket. You got to do the same damn thing. And you have an advantage because you're a little bit taller than him. So, Koloko, please learn from your other teammates to get strength and go up strong with it and just dunk it on them. You can't be going up with these soft ass trying to lay in stuff because you're not making them and you're getting hit and nobody's going to give you fouls right now. You got to start making them first through the contact, and then respect will be earned with the refs over the years, and they'll put you on the line for that kind of stuff. But they're not going to do it now, obviously. Let's see. PM's here. Good to see you, PM. I think Scottie is gun shy due to his injuries. I think he's holding back. Got to be more aggressive. Yeah, I'm not sure what's going on here. In some ways, I wish Nick was a little bit more like play call-y, like in this way, where he's saying, okay, Pascal's turned down the court or OG's turned down the court. But in some ways, that doesn't really help our offense because that really kind of makes us go into isolation sets. I don't know. I wish these guys would just play off each other and really be opportunists. Look and move the ball around and really go after whoever's gotten the best opportunity to shoot or make it. Because sometimes I feel like they get one track mind and say, okay, Gary's just going to try and work and try and do a sidestep and make the shot. Or Pascal's going to work on this half of the court and he's going to try and spin around and get a layup. And whereas I really wish we would move around and do more stuff like Thad and Juancho would do. That easy cuts, the easy baskets, pick and rolls with Cam and Koloko, all that stuff is way better in some ways than Pascal or OG trying to bowl their way down the lane to make a lay-in or something. Same with Fred. Or Gary just working in isolation by himself to beat the defense all by himself. I hate that shit. And that's part of the problem is we're trying to beat teams that have like really good defenses right up on us with like easy to guard kind of stuff. We need to make it harder for them to guard us like other teams have. Like the way they build up schemes to get free open threes in the corner and things like that. Why aren't we doing that kind of shit? Seriously, Nick. Can we get better schemes where we free guys up and we really use each other more? That's what I want. Guardian is saying this is a huge problem. When we had Kyle, Raps were decent passing the ball around the perimeter. Now no exterior passing. Drive in the key, shoot, or try to pass the ball out. Yeah. If you got the double coming at you, you need to pass it and you need to find that open person so you make the shots. Now, I don't want to, like I said, I don't want to get too nitpicky with the game last night. There's all kinds of different reasons why we lost. And that's really why I'm not going to go too much on it. In some ways, I'd rather focus on previewing the Orlando game tonight than just put this game from last night to bed. Give the kudos to Starscream and the Brooklyn Nets. And, let's move on. Let's just move on. We'll see them again soon enough. And hopefully we will have a better outcome for the Raptors winning against Brooklyn when they come here for the last game of the series against them this season. So, all right, let's see what Starscream's saying at G. Yeah, I didn't recognize my Nets last night in the first quarter. The way they played the last three quarters was more like the team I've been watching all year. Yeah, listen, we've given the Nets good feelings all three times we played them. We really helped them out very early in the season with the second game of this year, having them win, not letting them. Kyrie won that game. But yeah, they were in a bad place. And that was like one of the only times they felt good. So, like, him seeing that game last night in the first quarter was joy to Nets fans that have had such an arduous, difficult year so far with all kinds of different things. That, yeah, they felt real good coming out there. And I'm sure midway through the second quarter, when they were doubled up on us, that felt real nice. And there may be some screenshots taken that are all over Twitter today of like a 65 to 32 point score. And oh man, I hate that kind of shit. That is video evidence of a really bad place the Raptors were at that moment. Mike saying acting like we lost the game because Fred VanVleet isn't great at layups is nonsense. Top of top. You got a serious bias against Fred. I've seen you everywhere repeating the same points with very little context on things. Well, some people just hate certain players and they will sewer them and bring them down and go after them. Yeah, and I've noticed this about top of top too in the past. Yeah, Fred isn't to blame for everything that happened last night. There's a collective effort, blame, and all kinds of different little things. So, I mean, we could pick apart Nick. Once again, this is the kind of thing where you just kind of clean the slate, move on, and go to the next one. There's not as much that you can derive from what happened last night to help, or point fingers. This is really important part of this kind of adversity on a team is you're in a foxhole with all your other guys, you don't start pointing the gun at each other. You don't start pointing fingers. In fact, that's one thing that teams have said in the past. When they have hard times, they don't start blaming each other and let things roll out, get out of control that way. The smart team players know this, and the Raptors have like kind of basic like team philosophy to not turn on each other when the chips are down and things are tough. And they're doing that right now. I don't think that what somebody said earlier that there may be toxicity in our locker room. I don't think that's true. I think it's more that they're just disappointed with themselves and they know that they need to play better, but they're not turning on each other. They're not like saying this or blaming each other. They're really much they take their own personal responsibility each as individuals, and that is all that matters. They're not like Fred said it last night. He's not going to go out of bounds and criticize Scottie in certain ways, like maybe the press wanted him to in the interview last night. He said, "Look, who am I to say this or this? I just worry about my own shit and what I need to do to get better myself. And it's not like I'm going and getting on Scottie's ass for how he's playing and telling him what he needs to be doing. He knows what he needs to be doing on his own, and that he doesn't need me on his back doing that." That's what Fred said after the game last night. So let's see. Oh crap! It just jumped right when I was about to read it. All right, hang on. It was Mike and Starscream were the last two comments. Man, I really do need to figure out how to get it to stay. Okay, here it is. G saying Scottie was attacking the rim. It was actually good to see. Yeah, Scottie did some good things. There's mixed with bad. He can't be just absolutely perfect like he seemed like he was last year. G saying Starscream Nets did well first quarter, and Raps have a bad habit now of coming out flat, especially on the road. They need to come out with energy. And TJ Warren is a difference maker too. Yeah. Yeah, he's a good player. Like when he was on the Pacers a couple years ago, he was like a 20-point scorer and he can do a lot of different things. So, yeah, Nets, we got another good player coming in to help with reinforcements, and he's very motivated from what I saw on the court last night. We can help other teams feel real good about things real fast if we're playing so shitty. Nako's saying Scottie looks sloppier than usual. I'm a little worried about Fred, OG, Pascal, and Scottie were our best players. I said OG, Pascal, and Gary. I really like what Gary did still off the bench. He was 26 minutes, 6 of 11. So once again, he shot over 50%, 2 of 6, made both his free throws, got 2 steals, 16 points, and he was only a -1. And considering the deficits that we were dealing with last night, the fact that he ended up -1 was great. The only plus on our team was Chris Boucher. He was a +12. 2 of 7 shooting, though. 4 rebounds, 2 assists, only 5 points. So I didn't really want to put him on blast for one of the 3 stars because of that. Koloko starting 2 of 8, 0 for 2 for threes. He took 2 threes. Weird. 4 offensive rebounds, though. He led us in that category. 9 rebounds altogether. Just 1 block, 1 steal, 5 points. Now, Koloko, if he's going to start, I don't like him playing for too long. I want him to play for like maybe the first little bit and then come out. And then maybe that's when we need Ken Burch right then. Thad Young is in a weird way has been kind of lost in the shuffle in the last couple games that he was so established in our starting lineup. He was doing such good things. And then now it's like it's not there anymore. He only got 4 minutes last night, 2 points and 1 rebound. And maybe that wasn't enough Thad in the situation for what we're doing last night. Even though you didn't start him, Nick, maybe you needed Thad a lot more throughout the game. So maybe there was some mistakes by Nick Nurse with his rotations and his decisions last night. I don't think that starting Koloko was the right one, that maybe he needed to start Thad or Ken Burch, even though I kind of predicted he was going to start Koloko last night. Now let's look at tonight. Who's he going to start tonight, do you guys think? Who knows? Maybe he'll put Gary back in the starting lineup tonight because it's the kind of game where he can get away with doing it. Maybe he's like, I'm sick of this shit. Last year we won when I played my 5 best players all the time. And it could be very well that we see Fred VanVleet, Gary Trent Jr., Scottie Barnes, OG Anunoby, Pascal Siakam lineup tonight. And I don't know if that's a bad thing because it is Orlando. And I mean, I guess Bobo is a little bit of a problem for that. But who knows? Maybe they can guard Bobo really well. Like Siakam can guard him very well, or OG. And I don't know. But I'm going to predict right now, if I'm going to start this being a new segment since the starting lineups thing, I'm going to predict that Gary's going to start tonight and that Nick is going to go back to what worked so well last year with his starting 5, his ultimate top 5 guys that he just loves to start from last year. I think he's going to go back to that. Because in some ways there's comfort in that, and there is a lot of workload and reps accrued with that particular unit playing together on the lineup at the start of the game. I don't want to see Koloko out there in the starting lineup anytime soon. I think that in some ways he really hurts the way we start the game with his inexperience on the NBA level. And then I don't know if Koloko should be starting, like even like in little spot duty like last night. I mean, it may have worked at times early in the season, but I think it really hurts us as far as like he's easy to be exploited by the other team as being a rookie and making rookie mistakes and not really he's not totally a sound defender for position down low. He's good for blocks and he's good as a threat for rim protection, but he's not necessarily good at sealing our defense in any kind of way. And that has been shown when he's out there. The guys can score right up near the basket when he's right next to them. And I don't like that. I don't like that at all. Let's see. Nameless is saying, it's interesting observing the Freakasaurus Rex in their natural habitat this morning. It's true, Nameless. Listen, you test the metal of the fan in these tough kind of times. What kind of Raptors fan are you? How far can you go being positive when things seem so dark? I'm a fun guy saying, not going to turn on Barnes, but my issue with him is on the defensive end. He looks more like a rookie this year, missing defensive schemes, etc. Yeah, I'll agree with this. He has had lapses of judgment and not totally working within our system and doing the right thing. And I think that this is just a learning curve with young players. But listen, the effort's there. He's going to be a good defender. We know that he's really, really up on people and he wants to guard all kinds of guys. And he wants to go in the direction of like OG and Precious, being an all around defender who can guard everybody. It's just going to be a learning curve. And he's going to have lapses of judgment. He's going to fuck up assignments. He's not going to communicate correctly. He's not going to rotate right sometimes. And it will show, and he won't be absolutely perfect all the time. He's still learning. He's still very much learning. And just because he's a fast learner and he looked really good last year, well, he's still learning. And some of the stuff he's learning this year is not the easy stuff for him to learn. But I think he's going to be fine. He has all the instincts. He has the body, and he also has the effort. That's a big part of being a good defender in the league. You have to come in with the effort. He has that effort. He's going to be a good defender. It's just him learning it and getting more savvy and more vet with more experience. Monique is saying the shots will fall soon enough. Chris, stay shooting. Slow start for Chris in November. Not worried, just a bit. Yeah, so he was great during the middle of the month last year, but he is kind of hitting a little bit of a slide right now, Chris Boucher, and like production and what we were used to him in Pascal's absence. It's too bad. I think there's a couple of guys that are just having a little bit of shooting problems. And when you have so many guys on your team all at once having shooting problems, it's really way more pronounced. And it may be that we don't have enough of them that are actually feeling good and making the shots so that we just are having a hard time and our offense is so anemic. It's like usually you have at least one guy who's doing pretty good or something like that, but we don't. And maybe Gary is that guy kind of right now on the down low. Let's see. G saying exactly. Last season, Barnes didn't handle the ball like this. He does dribble high and a bit out of control. Also, it's affecting his defense because he is higher in the perimeter, getting blown by at. Yeah, yeah. There's something about him keeping between the defender in the basket. He can sometimes he'll be a little aggressive and they'll go get around him, and then other guys have to clean up his mess, and then we have to collapse and do all kinds of like rotating, and it's gonna get all figured out. He's been really solid. He's been a part of units out there in the last year that have absolutely sealed out and shut out other teams. So he knows that feeling of doing defense correctly with everybody and when it's clicking. He had that so many times last year, and that experience is valuable. And that's why we need to continue to let him live and learn on the court. And he will figure it out more and more and get better and better over time. It's like OG, he had a learning curve with his defensive prowess in this league. He had a period of time where he did not look exactly good, and he blew assignments in his early years as a Raptor. So this is something that's normal in the curve of development in on the defensive end, is that you're not going to get that totally perfect. And some guys are going to be just savvier and vet wise, and they're going to trick Scott. And he's just going to have to learn some of these dumb little tricks that people do and how to avoid them or beat them and stop them. So, all right, let's see. Top of top saying Scottie played fine. He's hitting a wall, mostly mental. If you look at the aggressive dunk and slash he made, he is being aggressive at times. Just needs to be more focused on both ends. He's only 21. Yeah. Yeah. I think that he, like, part of it is, I really do think that his life is just getting more and more complicated. Like last year, maybe the Raptors were very, like, let's keep it simple for him and just let him do what he wants to do and just keep it comfortable. And this year, he has more assignments. He has more kind of like, all right, we're going to try and develop you this way. And we want you to really get way better in this department. And you need to do this. And then meanwhile, he's got his agent and other people around him saying, you got a meeting with this company to be possibly in their commercial. You got this, and you got to go do this. And the travel has been crazy in this season so far. It's a grind. And I think that it may be a little overwhelming for him right at this moment in some ways. It may be that he's doing too many things in his life in certain ways. He may need to cut something out and kind of like get more back to basketball and focused. I hope he's not playing a lot of 2K or any kind of video game right now. I doubt he is. He's not playing basketball. I know that. And if he's playing any other video games and staying up late and doing that or anything like that, I'd hate to think that that's something that has to do with this. I don't think it is, though, because he'd probably either be on Twitch or, Lloyd. I could check on Lloyd's Twitch when he gets on if he's playing with him. I don't think he is. He's given up on 2K. So who knows the mystery of what it is? I think it may be stuff like the Subway Bowlway stuff, that he is a spokesperson for Subway. And now he's got I don't know. I don't know what it is. He may be sought after in certain ways now. And the load of what he has to deal with is a little bit more different and a little more pressurized. Maybe he is feeling a little bit more about the fame and the headiness of like everything and the responsibility of what he's doing. Maybe he is partly bogged down by the fan criticism that's around all of a sudden. He sees, okay, all these people were so nice to me last year. Now all these fucking people are telling me how bad I am and how good I am. And maybe he's a little pissed off about that because of loyalty with fans, not showing loyalty to him or believing in him and trusting him. There could be all kinds of different like little things that are contributing to why he seems mentally bogged down right now. Because it does look like a mental thing, but it also does look physical at times too. Whether it's like a nagging injury, like an ankle or a knee, like we speculated it's wrong with him, or it's just that he's absolutely exhausted on the court. You can tell he looks very tired at times. Logical saying, gee, facts. He needs to lower his dribble and expand his passing IQ, but it will come, in my opinion. Yeah, I hate high dribbles. Malachi is really bad with the high dribble too. He pisses me off with the high dribble too. It's not fundamentally good, and you will get burned and get it stolen from you from time to time if you want that high dribble. G saying times short-term pain for long-term gain. Exactly. That's exactly the way a Raptor freak should be thinking right now. Short-term pain for long-term gain. And this is kind of what the growing pains of the Raptors are going through right now is. Exactly. Nameless saying the Freakasaurus once existed 68.2 million years ago. Some say it went extinct due to a lack of belief. Nameless, what you're saying is so cute. I love this. I know this is probably true. I won't believe the Kim Kardashian rumor, but what Nameless just said, that is science. I know that's a true dinosaur. First of all, the Freakasaurus, I know that was a true dinosaur because I've heard of it a couple times from old funk songs from the 70s. And also, yeah, that seems to be the way I remember it too, that they forgot it died because of belief. Nobody believed it existed. And then it died. It's kind of like the tree that falls in the forest and nobody heard it. Nameless, you're an MVP, bro. G saying I'm missing Precious right now. He does some youth mistakes, but you can see the difference in defense at the rim and in paint without him at times. The aggressiveness, the pure volatility of Precious Achua, and just like anytime this guy could bust out and just throw it down on you. There's a lot of factors about Precious that we are missing right now. And it's fun. Like when we have people missing and we're like, oh crap, this is the ingredient that we're missing in our stew right now that we could really use. I think this is true. That in the last two games, Achua's presence on our lineup may have really helped. We talked about it on Zion for Wednesday. And then last night, it could be just like a spark plug, just a kind of like, I'm not fucking taking this shit anymore. And I'm going to fucking go jam it on them real quick kind of attitude that Precious has at times. So, yeah, we are definitely missing Precious. And we need to get everybody back as healthy as possible and kick some ass. Yeah. All right, let's see. Nako saying, I've seen Bobo and Paulo really turn it on. Bobo kind of reminds me of Delano. People are trying to say that Bobo's like Victor. He's like Wemby. Like he does some of the Wemby skills, like with the outside shooting and the handles. And I know that Scottie's really like into playing him on 2K23. That Bobo is a very valuable player on NBA 2K23 because he's a huge, tall guy with ball handling skills in that game. They actually made him like worthwhile and valuable in that. I want to see the real world Bobo. That video game Bobo, maybe just like the video game Taco Fall, not really reality. And we'll have to see how things are. I haven't really studied Magic that much. I just know that they've lost 7 games in a row. We need to beat them, is what I'm saying. We can't lose to the Orlando Magic today. If we do, it's going to be really, really even more sad. Sunday's stream will be even more depressing if we lose the game today. And I know maybe half of y'all will not show up tomorrow if we lose today. But I will still be here shining a light, and I will be getting that gumption up talking about that Boston game for Monday if we lose today. But I think we'll win today. I really do have a strong feeling, and I hope so. Because, like, we just need to. Something's got to give. And we're sick of losing. We don't need to lose anymore. All right, let's see. Cowboys here. I will do that. No problem, Lex. Thanks for the shout out. And I owe you some Tada merch. Hell yeah, Bradley. Send me some merch for sure, brother. And yeah, message me also in the Yahoo chat, and I can give you my email. Actually, my email is available in the Yahoo Fantasy League. So you can just email me directly, and I can give you my address. Maybe I'll do that afterwards. I'll send it to you. Monique saying, just a reminder, the Raptors show live December 12th. That's with Chris Boucher, Will Liu, and Alex Wong. December 12th, if you guys want to go see them live, you can. Mike saying, for your information, Open Gym dropped last night at midnight, Kanono Origins episode. Yeah, I watched it pretty late, so I was kind of tired. But it was interesting. It was fun. Good, cool stuff to see. Coloco's Open Gym episode. Of course, they do one for almost every player that comes to the Raptors. And Coloco's getting that Open Gym treatment. Very nice and cool to see all kinds of aspects about Christian in that Open Gym last night. Nameless is saying, I was thinking the exact same thing last night, G. In fact, I miss him more than Otto. Would be nice to have them both back, certainly. Yeah. Serto. Yeah, I miss Precious more than Otto in a lot of ways because Otto, in some ways, hasn't established as much for what he does for our team as Precious has over the last year or so. That Otto's really shown up. And he's just kind of given us a taster of what he can do. But Precious has been a very valuable person in our rotation, and we definitely are missing him right now. And Otto, in some ways, Juancho's doing a little bit of what Otto would do for us, and so is Thad. So but Precious offers things that a lot of our other guys cannot give us in some ways. Isaac Campbell's saying back to basics, putting the fun back in fundamentals, on the ball pressure, and pick up the defensive intensity right away. We cannot afford to be hesitant in defense or the offense suffers. Yeah, it really shows when things are going so bad like this and they're making shots. We have a really hard time getting that truck out of the mud because we need turnovers. We need them to miss shots. And when they're not missing shots, that's a big key to why New Orleans and Brooklyn have done so well against us in the last two games is they were shooting so well. If they did not shoot well, we would have had more easier time in some ways. That them missing shots is very helpful for us. And when they don't miss shots right at the beginning of the game, it kind of sets a tone and it fucks us up. And that's the thing. And some of it is that, they're shooting extremely well, like even better than they normally do. And then some of it is also our poor defensive effort. And that really, really fucks us up on the offensive end for us. That if the other team is shooting really well, we have a really hard time scoring in general. And this may be a big part of the scouting report on the Raptors right now, is that other teams are saying to beat the Raptors, y'all have to shoot a high percentage and make almost all your shots, and then we'll win. Because that seems like that's the key to victory the other way against us. Is the coach has to say, y'all make most of your shots, you'll win tonight, because they really have a hard time not scoring points when you don't allow them transition and you're making the basket and they have to side out to bring the ball in every time. So it's a big problem. And I think Isaac's right. Back to the basics. Let's put fun back in the game. Let's put the joy in there. Let's get out there and have fun and just make things happen. One of the things I don't like with the Raptors on offense that I think we could change is have a purpose. I feel like these guys are too much or half-assing it. And what that really means is, like, sure, you can go to the basket and kind of throw up a layup, Fred, or you can kind of just like try and make something happen, Pascal, with your spins and stuff. But in some ways, it's better to have a really clear decision about what you want to do and make it absolutely 100%. I'm going to go do this and make this happen. Then sometimes you guys are really allowing it up to chance. And that all the great offensive scorers, they know they're going to make it because they absolutely make sure they make it, whether it's in practice or the move that they'd like to learn to make their bread and butter that is unstoppable. We need more of that. We need more of that kind of thing where, like, look, Scottie's just going to back you down and he's going to use his little turnaround hook, and he's worked on it so much that it's money. And when he makes that move, he needs to be very much thinking, I'm going to make this and complete this basket no matter what. Because some of the stuff we're doing is we're going half-assed. We're going into those situations where we have the kind of a general idea of what, yeah, we want to score, of course, but you don't really want to score as much as you want to score. Like, you really want to score. You have to really, really want it and not go up so half-assed with half the shit y'all are doing, Raptors. You really got to come with a purpose and a real conviction about making the baskets. And that's part of the problem right now. Y'all don't have a conviction to convert and to execute and to absolutely make the shots. And that's showing in your shots because they're half-assed. They're rolling out. They're not totally, like, you're not putting in the right effort and energy into finishing your shots. That you do that, okay, other teams will just play half-ass defense and boom, you miss. And they get a rebound and then they're bringing the ball back on us. That's part of the problem is here. Y'all need conviction and finishing because you're not finishing with conviction right now. You need to know and want and say, I'm making this for sure. Conviction. That's what I'm saying. Yeah. All right, let's keep going. Nako's saying Kanye made Alex Jones feel genuinely uncomfortable with all the Hitler talk. I don't know how anyone's able to do that. Kanye is weird. He's just weird in some ways. I can't believe we're talking about him today in our chat, honestly. But apparently there's a rumor about Kim Kardashian and Pascal right now. Shane's saying, so proud of where we are at with our injury woes, scheduling gauntlet and fucked refs. We played 2 bad quarters in 2 games to which The other teams shot over 70%. That's rare. We're going to be just fine. Yeah. Yeah. I believe this too. And I love that Shane's coming back with framing this in a positive way. And he's bringing something that's like, look, y'all are all dumping on our team right now. You're talking shit. You don't believe in them. Meanwhile, Shane is saying he's proud of them. That's interesting. That's a very interesting take today. And I'm not totally against it. In some ways, I'm proud of them just for being strong and staying as a team because I really do think they are fine. And they'll get through this. They're gonna get through this. Tom Duke saying to Mike, open gym episode was great. Spotlight on Christian Coloco and the work being done in Africa. Some crazy length and athletes to tap into. Yeah, that was really cool episode. I'll probably have to watch it again. I was half asleep when I watched it late last night, and I probably should catch up on it and get the details of it more clear in my head. Top of Top saying Fred's point of attack defense isn't what it was prior to his playoff injury. He could regain his speed, but seeing as he had the summer to recover, I'm not so sure. If not, what's the solution? Now this is good concerns, and this is constructive. So he's not just tearing them down; he's actually bringing us something to think about. You know what? Listen, I wish him and Gary would play better together, like they were before. Fred and Norman used to do this thing, and then Gary kind of took over doing that thing with Fred after Norman got traded for him. And I wish that we would see more of what they were doing as a pair, as a duo in the backcourt. That there's something missing there in some ways. I don't know. I'm going to pay more attention to this top of top. And maybe it is partly that Fred's point of attack defense at the very top is part of where the catalyst of starting the unraveling of our defense overall. I'm going to pay close attention to this today specifically. Yeah. Mike saying, Tom Duke, facts, saw it this morning. Great episode. Kind of stole my thunder with Masai. Have a lock of Africans coming in and edge there. Yeah. G saying, would like to see the ball go to OG at first, throw it off teams. They know it's going to go to Pascal where, maybe partly why they start off flat. Yeah, I mean, I'd love to see OG establish like a post presence right at the beginning of the game. Like, can we post him and get him somewhere? Yeah, whatever we can do. I mean, yeah, I'm with that. Jimmy Pope saying hard to complain about one player in particular when the team lets 41 points in the first quarter. After that, we won every quarter. Just wait until we start playing good. I don't want to see any of y'all. Jimmy, I want to see you still too in the chat, and you can come and rub it in their faces. When you say, see, I told you so. It's like, look, this is just a, 2 first quarters really ruined 2 games in a row. 40-point quarters in the first quarter where we're not even scoring barely 20 or getting to 20. That is a huge deficit to overcome right away. A 20-point deficit in the first quarter. I'm with Jimmy. I'm totally with Jimmy, and I'm with him. When it comes around, we will be the ones saying, we told you so. We will. Nameless is saying, so that's why Pascal plays with a newfound attitude out there. Laugh out loud. I hope that's not true. I really don't know. I really hope it's not true that Pascal got with Kim Kardashian. I really do hope that it is not true. I mean, Kanye says some wild shit, and I hope this is just one of them. Tristan Phipps is here. That says the contribution. Monique is saying, a start time never works for me. Raptors picked out of the Toronto Creators. 8 start time never works for me. So we're playing at 8 tonight? It's hard for you to get down to the arena for 8 or get back that late. I get what you're saying, Monique. Yeah, Raptors picked out the Toronto Creators. Are you talking about the creator program? I'm not sure. Mike's saying Lex cooking on perspective. I got to do something, Mike. Listen, I am a spin channel. I'm going to spin this in a positive way for us no matter what. I don't care how bad it gets. We will always be spinning it positive here. Nako saying towards the end, I thought the refs got kind of bad. They were pretty bad, like in a lot of places. I didn't want to really talk about them too much. Like, I like Nate Green. Nate Green's great. But, did y'all know that Justin Van Dyne is a cop? That dude is actually a police officer. He worked as a police officer in California for a few years before becoming a ref. Like, I really should dig deep into like the refs' backgrounds. You know what? Let's do the refs for tonight, y'all. I got the ref report for this Orlando game for tonight. We've got Pat Frere as our head referee tonight. He is from Eagan, Minnesota. His favorite TV show is Game of Thrones. His favorite movie is Caddyshack. His favorite musician is Billy Joel. Sing me this song, Piano Man. Sing me a song tonight. His favorite meal is barbecue. Once again, we have somebody who's naming a food that's like a whole genre and doesn't really help us. Well, barbecue, what do you mean? I might go get an armadillo down the street and barbecue that for you, Pat Frere, since you just said barbecue. And it leaves my mind open to all kinds of imaginative things that I could barbecue for you. So you just want barbecue? We'll barbecue whatever that's out on the road and we'll just bring it to you. It could be a squirrel. How about some barbecue squirrel, Pat Frere? I don't know. Let's be nice. Hopefully you'll be one of the nicer refs because all the refs have been very mean to us this week. And hopefully y'all can be a little nicer. Now, Pat Frere is not nice to us in comparison to the Orlando Magic. We have a 48 win percentage when we play with Pat Frere on the court. And meanwhile, Orlando has a 52.3 win percentage for Pat Frere. So the head ref is the only one that's against us. The other two are for us, but he is the one who is against us. Just so y'all know, Pat Frere is the head ref. And he's a former WNBA ref, guys. Just so you know, he did ref in the WNBA for 4 years. Lauren Holtkamp Sterling is our second ref. She has been refereeing for 6 years now. Her favorite TV show is Black Mirror. She likes Florence and the Machine for music. She would like to travel to Greece, and she is someone whose favorite meal is breakfast. That's right. She's one of the ones that just put in breakfast. Okay, so you're going to get some flapjack pancakes, and this is how it's going to go, Lauren. We're going to bring in the 100% Canadian maple syrup. Maybe, hopefully, we can get a vat of it. Tom Duke, how's our supply on maple syrup? I know it's been a little low recently. We haven't had any. In fact, we've had American maple syrup dumped on us recently. Very heavy amounts of it. It's been gross. It's like we got to clean it out of our bodies. It's gross how much. But can we get some Canadian maple syrup tonight? 100% for some pancakes for Lauren Holtkamp. And so we can get a good lead and win tonight. Oh my gosh. Lauren Holtkamp's record for us is 68%. We actually win a lot when she's around. And meanwhile, Orlando's is 23%. That's a huge deficit. You add those two numbers together, you don't get to 100%. So yeah, she's very much like, Orlando's been bad in recent years and she's a young rep. So this makes a lot of sense that they've only won 23% of the games when she's around. Meanwhile, we've won 68% of our games when she's there. The third ref is an even younger ref. It is John Conley. He's in his third season out of Orlando, Florida as a referee. His favorite TV show is Even Stevens. His favorite musician is Michael Jackson. Beat it, no one has to feel defeated. His favorite movie is Dumb and Dumber. Well, he would love my channel. And his favorite meal is potatoes and pasta. Now, he's also a dog trainer, and he'd like to skydive in Dubai. John Conley has not been reffing for very long, but we have a pretty good record under him. We wins 57% of the time when he referees, and meanwhile, the Magic win 33% of the time. And there isn't a whole lot of games there for that. So there's your ref report for today. Pat Frere, Lauren Holtkamp, and John Conley. Two younger refs, and then Pat Frere. And hopefully, we'll see some good refereeing finally tonight, since we didn't have very good refereeing on Wednesday or Friday. The refereeing on Monday was pretty good, though, with Tony Brothers. So we've had like a real gauntlet of weird ref crews with Tony Brothers ref crew, Ben Taylor, and Ed Malloy last night. Now we're going to get Pat Frere tonight. So it could be, we'll have to see. We'll just have to watch them. Cool Cat's here. Good morning, Raptor Free Crew. We lost our own game. Our three-point shooters are in a slump. Only Pascal and Scottie shot a 3 each. Yeah, the three-point shooting was dreadful last night. We got Fred at 1 for 7. 0 for 2 Coloco, 0 for 2 Anunoby, 2 for 6 Gary Trent. Hernan Gomez hit the only 3 he took, and Boucher was 1 for 2, Barnes was 1 for 2, and Pascal was 1 for 2. Just not enough of it, and just not making enough. And this is a real problem. We got to get our three-point shooting back. You can't win in this league. They said it on the telecast. You cannot win in this league if you don't hit your threes. You don't hit your threes, you're not going to win games. And that's definitely something to go with what's happening with us right now. Tom Duke saying, can we say with getting 9 guys off injury that it's kind of like starting over? hit refresh and get things going. Once again, he's got the emoticon in the middle of the buffering emoticon. Tom, you are an artiste with emoticons. That is amazing. You just flesh out your language. With English is really what you're doing here. Yeah, I think that this is a fair thing to say. With so many guys that were out recently, maybe this is a little bit like restarting the season over in some ways, in the highs and lows. Curtis is here. Good to see Curtis. It's been a little bit. To be honest, other than the awful first quarter, we really didn't play that bad. See, that's another positive light being shined by a good Raptor freak that he's saying, look, other than these first quarters in the last two games, we really kind of circled the wagons and tried to come back from really insurmountable odds in some ways with like huge deficits on top of us already. It's like, why do we have to let them have these huge deficits? Then we kick it into gear and come after them. Then it's like, can we just start the game with that effort right away and not dig a hole for ourselves? Please, Raptors. But I thank you, Curtis, for coming in and shining a light this morning as a good Raptor freak would. And I think this is very true. I mean, you can look at it statistically last night. Sure, they outscored us 41-17 in the first quarter. But after that, what was it? It was 88 to 73. 88 to 73 over the last three quarters is what the score was added up. So thank you, Curtis, and I hope you have a great Saturday. Let's get this W against Orlando tonight. Cool Cat saying lost the game due to first quarter performance. Players are adjusting after a long break from injuries. Scottie played well. Feel sorry that he's hurting. We need Pascal. Pascal needs the ball more to move around. Yeah. A lot of that stuff sounds all good, Cool Cat. No, you're exactly right. The players are coming back, getting their legs under them, and we're trying to figure things out. Monique saying it is absolutely hilarious how much we play the Magic this month, but we need the Magic. Juancho showing why the Raptors picked him up, gelling so well. Yeah, I agree with that, Monique. Hopefully these Magic games will go good for us. We do not need to lose to the Magic. We need to pick up 3 W's in the next 10 games against the Magic every single time. And will show some discipline. That like maybe we beat them today, and then the next time we play them, I don't want to see a letdown just because like, oh, we beat them already and they're easy. No, you guys need to come correct every single game. It may be that you are not coming into the game with the right prepared energy and that you're getting wake-up calls and reacting. We don't want to be the one that reacts to the other team being aggressive and having to come back. We want to be the aggressive team that comes out and puts the other team on their heels so that they are doing what they've been doing to us recently instead. That we want them to be figuring it out and panicking and trying to circle the wagons and try and figure out how to beat us and not the vice versa. And that's a big difference. We need to be that team that does it to them instead of them doing it to us, like what's happened recently. I hate it. Hate it so much. Seymour saying Precious is really needed right now. Can't wait for his return. Yeah, and it's not anytime soon. Like, I don't even know if we'll get him back in December, guys. It could very well be we're not going to see him until New Year's. Who knows? Maybe he'll be a Christmas present for us. That'd be real nice if he could come back as soon as possible. But like I said, the last report said 2 or 3 weeks until he is recessed again. And that was last week. So it's like still at least a week he's out, if not another 2 weeks from right now. So I hope he's very soon. We need him back. You're exactly right. Curtis is saying also, let's see, it jumped. Curtis is saying also, at Monique, honestly, I expected Juancho to be a spot up shooter, but he is turning into like a hustle guy with good defense and sometimes shooting. Yeah, Juancho adds a couple of different things with his height and his ability, like to offensive rebound and tip the balls back. The way he cuts off ball is very much like the Utah roll we had last year. And then like he's shooting threes. In fact, I think he's, I know Utah's leading the league in free 3-point percentage right now. But if you compare what Utah was shooting last year for us for 3 and what Juancho's doing right now, he's shooting way better at 3 than Utah or Svi or any of those 3-point shooters we were trying to rely on last year. So he's definitely an upgrade. And he's not the best one-on-one defender, but he's really good team defender. And those are the kind of things that I really like about him. This is like we're learning more about his game and how it fits with the Raptors system. And it looks like it gels and fits really, really well. And I'm really happy about this. I think that Juancho is going to become more valuable as the season goes on. And people are going to really like him more and more, especially when he's hitting his 3 when nobody else is. because he's going to hit his three consistently all year. Watch. There's not going to be any dead period where he's going to be like making us groan like Svi Mihalik did last year. He's going to consistently make his three. Trust me. I know that about shooters, and watching him last Sunday, I keep talking about it. The way he shoots in practice, he's a very good 3-point shooter, and he should be getting more 3-point shots for us. Honestly, I really do feel like that. We need to discover more about him for how he can help us from the 3-point line. Cool Cat saying, I feel Fred needs to rest. His back is tight. Legs are not in his shots. I was watching his form. Teams have scouted Raptors. Be aggressive and move around the ball and shoot threes around us. Box us out. Yeah. Yeah. They're finding kryptonite for us, and a lot of them and more. And it's really bad. Like, we're in a bad place right now that we need to shake off and prove that they can't do this game plan against us anymore. Nick has to adjust and make the counter plan to fix it against this kind of thing. There's always somewhere to chase around to. The snake chases its tail. And sometimes the tail gets caught by the snake. And that's right where we are right now. We got to whip that tail out of the snake's mouth and get ahead again and continue to chase it. And that's the whole way it is with scheming in the NBA, with offenses and defenses. At some point, you get caught up with what you're doing, and the league may have a little lock on how to stop you for a little bit. Well, you have to readjust and get that tail out of that mouth and get it ahead again. Giovanni's here. Good to see Giovanni. A good Raptor freak. Been over the last year or so. Gary is playing well, but I still think he will be traded. Tyler Hero getting $30 million a year, getting 1 point per game more than Gary last year, but the writing is on the wall. It's Norman Powell's situation. Who knows? It may be very smart to trade Gary in some ways, for real, partly because of what Giovanni's saying. The writing's on the wall for the money that he's going to be earning next summer. And, this may very well be true, Giovanni. We may need to be ready for all kinds of crazy stuff. Now, listen, the things that are looking now in Brooklyn, seeing them last night, I don't think they're going to want to trade Kevin. And I don't think Kevin's going to want to move now, because he does seem like things are going better for him. And it may be that the Kevin Durant sweepstakes are over because Brooklyn is having success finally. But if they had not done so well recently, it could very well that he would be available in January, when they might still try and trade him. But I don't know if that's going to happen at this point. It seems like they should go all in and try and do something this year with him on the team. But for a while, it looked like he might be moved because he's not happy there. But I think things are clicking with them now, and it's probably not going to be moved at this point, Kevin Durant. So who knows? Who knows what's going to happen this season with trades and different people move in different ways. That the opportunity the Raptors had to get Kevin Durant this summer may have been then, and it may not happen again this year or ever again. And so be it. We're fine with that. But if it was meant to happen, it would have happened. But yeah, Gary could get moved for somebody somewhere and somehow. Who knows? Well, we'll see. I'm not going to say that Giovanni's wrong. This is, a lot of what he's saying is very true. Seymour saying Boucher gave TJ that welcome back block. Yeah, that was nice. Well, a few bright spots here and there. All right, let's see what Savage is saying. But the team is turning on each other. Guys wouldn't take a foul for a hobbled Barnes. And versus Pelicans at 12-12, Spicy and Barnes were arguing with each other. Do you really not see these things? All right, the thing about them not calling the foul for Scottie, that's on a couple of different people. Maybe it is that they didn't want to take a foul. Maybe it was that Nick didn't take a timeout. Maybe the refs should have called the timeout, officials timeout, to help a hurt player at that time. I don't know. You can read into that all kinds of different ways. But that's not what the case was in that moment, seriously. And I'm sure that that's not what the issue is. You're maybe reading into it a little too much as far as that. There's been a lot of instances where players have been hurt and they don't stop play. They just keep playing. Meanwhile, Chris Boucher's laying on the floor at the other end. That's really what the problem is when the officials don't do timeout or anything or take into account injuries, and they let play continue. There were a couple of plays in the last year where a guy would be hurt on the floor and they let them run up and down the court 2 or 3 times. So it's really more indicative of that. It's not necessarily of the players, the coach, or anything like that. It's just, maybe they thought maybe try and walk it off. I don't know. But I don't think Scottie was that upset. Now, as far as them going at each other, well, maybe that's just intensity of being like their competitors and they really, really want to win. And we've seen Scottie kind of like show a little bit of disdain in different situations, like that time when him and Precious hit a basket in by accident in the playoffs against Philadelphia. that is just, Scottie's frustration, and maybe they work it out a little more publicly in front of people. But listen, you once again, you're being anti-Raptor freak right now. We allow you to be here just kind of as fun. But if you are going to be assiduous and be a problem here, then we're going to come after you seriously. But I think you're reading into things too much, and you think that I'm not seeing things. Well, I think that you want these things to happen, and that's why you're seeing them. And I don't think they're necessarily true. Cowboys saying, can't wait to see how OG Barnes and this team deals with Paolo. I think we can get this win. The Raptors will get back to bully ball and thinking this is where we start our win streak. Let's go Raptors. That's the right kind of attitude, Bradley. Thank you. So Orlando Magic, they only won 5 games this season. We need to be another person putting a loss in their column and continue their losing streak, which is, like I said, I think it's like 8 games that they've lost or 7 games. Then they played last night too. It's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. They've lost 7 games in a row. 2 to Indiana, 2 to Philly, Brooklyn, Atlanta, and Cleveland. All Eastern Conference teams have been beaten up on them. We need to be the next Eastern Conference team to beat up on them ourselves. All right, let's see. Thad is exhausted and showed against the Pels. Okay, Mike thinks that Thaddeus is exhausted. It could be that we just have energy problems right now in different ways. Who knows? I'm going to keep making excuses for them. Trust me. All right. Monique brought up a good bright spot from last night. Always good to see the Oak Man last night. What a chat. Yeah. Charles Oakley sitting at the end of the sideline watching the game. Really fun to see his presence at the game. Of course, he's not happy with the Knicks. So when he goes to games in New York, he goes to Nets games because he's not cool with James Dolan. And he's sitting at the end, and obviously he loves our team. He's a big Raptors alumni that's still really much very supportive and kind and loving towards our team. But it's fun. They put him on the broadcast. And I know Matt Devlin had a little hard time with Charles Oakley in the broadcast when he's commentating because Charles has a certain way of expressing himself. He's very a certain kind of level of language that isn't always totally clear, and it's kind of all over the place. This is part of the reason why he could never be on Inside the NBA, is because Charles speaks in a little bit of his own code of words. And there's nothing wrong with that. He's always been this way. And Alvin knew this too. And it's not like they could have had him in there for more than one segment because he is really hard to understand in what he's saying. But that's just, we love him. And he's just a truth teller. And he was saying some very interesting stuff about the Raptors and about the Nets. And it's just really fun to have him there and him interacting with Matt Devlin and Alvin Williams for part of the game. That was definitely a bright spot and was very much cheering me up during the very dark period of the time in the game when they were absolutely killing us and the deficit was the widest it had been. In fact, we started coming back when Oakley was in the commentary booth and I was like, man, maybe he's good luck because we're actually winning when he's in the booth talking with them. But it was really nice to see Charles Oakley there. And once again, I don't know how much we would get people like Charles Oakley coming into our broadcast booth and sitting in if we didn't have Alvin Williams in the broadcast. That, they're asking Charles to come over is Alvin's asking him. And I love that synergy and that old history of Raptors and him sitting in there and talking about old times. He talks a bit about Vince Carter and then playing with him. That's just gold. That's gold for an old Raptors fan like me. Just watch and hear the old tales and hear these guys from way back talk about stuff from back then. So cool, Monique. And thank you for bringing up Charles Oakley on the stream today. I would have forgotten to talk about that part and the great thing about that. That is definitely something that was positive and fun about the game last night, having Oakley in the booth. Nameless saying, yeah, people, I moved on already. I don't even care if we finish 8th, then wake up in the playoffs. Just ask the Spurs all about that. Yeah, listen, it's a long season. There's a lot of ups and downs. We could lose all our games to Brooklyn this year, but if we beat them in a playoff series at the end of the year, it'll erase all the regular season in our heads. So let's not get it twisted. The important stuff is in the playoffs, but of course, we want to do as well as we can during the regular season to put ourselves in the best position for winning in the playoffs. So 2023 NBA champion Toronto Raptors. 2023 NBA champion Toronto Raptors. I still believe that shit. And I'll still say it even on a morning like today. Let's see. G saying Barnes is in an interview just said he's in awe of Pascal. Wouldn't read into things too much. Fred and Pascal had 5 fouls and couldn't foul at that point. That's also true. Also, they were handcuffed to a degree. And I think G's actually got both the arguments that are correct. Scottie Barnes loves Pascal. He loves playing next to him. He's in awe of him, as G said. And I know Pascal loves playing with Scottie too. He's just not that kind of guy that has people he doesn't like on the team. So I think Savage is just trying to pull shit apart once again. Savage is not being fun today. And I know it's partly because we lost, but like I said, tread lightly. You're okay with that last comment, but if you go a little too much into us, yeah, just find out. Find out. All right, let's see. Nako's saying starting lineup is probably going to be the usual lineup, though. I think I would most like to see Boucher switch for Koloko. I feel safer with Gary on the bench. Yeah, I don't know. I feel like it maybe Gary's good for tonight though against Orlando in some ways. You know, they're big up front, but their backcourt's short. And Fred and Gary against their backcourt has been good in the past. So I don't know. We'll have to see what it is. I'm speculating we're going to revert back to last year's starting five tonight. That Gary's played well off the bench for a couple games, and then Nick's going to just be like, you know what, Gary, you're going to get the start tonight. And it may be because partly Thad's tired and Koloko just can't be depended on. But I may be completely wrong. And we may see Koloko once again tonight just because a Bol versus Koloko matchup is actually probably pretty good. I think Koloko might be a good matchup for Bol. So who knows? I'm speculating the old lineup from last year just because Nick is striving to get some stability in these rough times right now. And he knows he can get it from the starting lineup he had last year. Top saying, Mike, I'm sorry if I don't know how to sugarcoat things like you. I'm old school, so I just get to the point. If a player plays well or not, I can be big up or criticize as I see fit. All right, respect the top. It's just seriously though, like I totally get what you're saying, and I don't mind you guys being critical and stuff, but I have seen you pick on Fred pretty consistently this whole entire year, and that's fine. You just may not like him as a player on our team. That's fine. And you know what? You know, we do need to have a space to be constructively critical of the team. And I realize the Top's doing something totally different than what Savage is doing in here today. And he is on our team and he really cares. That's the difference in some ways. So yeah, it is something though that I have noticed, Top, that you really don't like Fred. And that's fine. That's fine. Hopefully he can just like get better and things will be better. Because he's essential to me. Like I don't care how bad he plays. He could be so bad that we have to take him out of the starting lineup, and I still want him on this team. Just because his leadership and so many other things are so important. And he's the kind of guy that if he played so bad that we just couldn't like justify starting him anymore, he would take that role begrudgingly, but he would take it because he knows that he deserved to be demoted. So let's keep things within perspective also this, that Fred is good for our team no matter what, even if he's not playing very well. And that maybe his role will change quickly if he's absolutely playing like in the bottom of the barrel for a long time. To say maybe Fred's coming off the bench all of a sudden instead of Gary, and Gary's in the starting lineup and Scottie's the point guard now. You know, there's a lot of different ways this could go top, but I don't want to trade Fred. That's definitely not on the table for me. Is that I realize how important he is as a linkage to our 2019 championship. That you don't get rid of a guy like that, even if they're not playing well. You just need him for culture. You need him for, linkages to that championship year as far as knowing how to do things. We've lost. Like the picture on my wall over here with all the champions up there. We've lost two of them every summer since we won the championship. The first summer we lost Kawhi and Danny. The second summer we lost Serge and Mark. The third summer we lost Norman and Kyle. We cannot afford to lose the last two faces that are on there with Nick Nurse, and that's Pascal and Fred. I don't want to lose any more champions. So Fred is off the table as far as getting rid of him. Now, if his role shrinks because he's not playing well enough, that's something else. So that's the way I look at it with Fred, top. I don't ever want to get rid of him. We need to keep him. He needs to be a Raptor for life, but his role may shrink if he's not playing well enough. Mike saying Savage, that's ridiculous. Remember Lowry yelling at people and arguing with Serge a lot? That never was anything. In the heat of the moment, things are said when guys really want to win, and that's known. Yeah, Thank you, Mike. And yeah, continue to be sick on Savage. I'm all about you guys taking care of those kind of things here in the chat before I even get to them. Cowboys saying, I think we will still be a top four, but as long as we make the playoffs, we got this. The Raptors are warriors in the garden, not a gardener in a war. Let's go, Raptor freaks. Yes, Bradley, you go. The positivity. I love it. Nameless is saying Spurs used to just squeak in the playoffs and then proceed to run the table. I don't think anybody cared at the end of the season when they were holding that chip. Yeah, yeah, I'm all about that. Lolia's saying I still believe that Scottie should be taken out of the rotation until he's really well. Not a bandage treatment. The potential of him is so high. Why are we gambling with his health? I can understand this perspective because we've got to really think long term. We don't want him to have any weird damage to his body because we're overworking him slightly hurt. And I can understand this kind of mentality with this. It really is all right. Dr. McKechnie is going to know whether he can actually play safely with his health, first of all. And he's the one who's going to decide this. And then Scottie really is going to come out and play, even if he's like shot in both legs and he's missing an arm. He is that kind of motivated guy. So it's tough. So it really is McKechnie's the gatekeeper on this and whether he can play or not. And he comes to him day to day and he probably checks on him. And he says, you know what, Scottie, we're not going to let you play today because this is too like aggravated or something like that. I don't know. I'm with you too in some ways that we should err on the side of caution with Scottie. And we don't want anything bad to happen as far as like long-term damage because we are riding him too hard right now. So I don't know. There's got to be a balance. It may be that these games that he sat out recently were exactly what you're saying, and that was part of the reason why they could sit him. But now they want to play him because they need to. Monique is saying, "Crush the Magic, home cooking." Look at this, guys. Both teams are in a funk too. 905 need to win as well. Yeah, the 905 are playing today. I forget who they're playing exactly. But they have a game tonight also in the evening. I think they're at 6:00 from what I remember. There's a 9:05 game tonight, and we're playing the Orlando Magic at Scotiabank. Mike's saying, top. Old school thinking is no excuse for the type of blame you account to Fred. New school, old school keep the same energy. You don't campaigning Fred isn't good based on emotional takes versus logic. Well, no, top has good reasoning. Like he doesn't really like how Fred doesn't finish well near the basket. And I get this. To be a point guard in the league back in the day, it was mandatory. If you were Muggsy Bogues, you were that short, you had to be able to finish in the land of the giants still and be very successful at it. Now, part of the problem is that it's tough for little guys like Muggsy and Fred to score and down low in the trees, and especially tough when they're hurt, they can't do it exactly right. Now, Fred still does pretty good down there. Like he's savvy enough. He gets on the right side of the rim so that he can use the rim to kind of guard from them blocking. He does different little things like that work. But I really think that Top's not totally out of line with worrying about Fred. It's just that go back to what I just talked about with Fred, and that's kind of the way I look at it myself. But Fred, yeah, he could pick it up, and he knows it. He said it last night. He's not playing good enough, and he's not happy with how he's playing. And he's not going to criticize Scottie or Pascal or anybody else on the other team. He's going to criticize himself, and he's going to work on himself to get himself better, just like each individual on the team is trying to do right now themselves. So we'll have to see. We'll have to see what's happening. And, like I said, Top may not like Fred, but he's just checking. He wants to make sure that, how can we improve? How can we do better? And he sees this as an area where we could be doing better. M. Jones is saying, bruh, Scottie is losing his identity right now. I don't know about anything with Nick Nurse in the system. All I know is he's losing his identity. Stick to what got you Rookie of the Year. Back to the basket, bang inside. You're right to a degree, M. Jones. It does seem like Scottie has lost his identity from last year, but it's partly because it's like a cocoon. It's like a larvae. He's going through different stages, like pupate or something like that. He's in a new stage, and it's a difficult growing stage, growing pains. And he has to do this. If he wants to progress and be better and better in this league, he pretty much has to get out of his shell and get out of his comfort zone and do this to be the best, absolute best player he could possibly be down the road. So this is all necessary, unfortunately, even if it seems like it's very uncomfortable and it's not the right direction he should be going in, it is actually. It's just there's going to be severe growing pains, and we're just getting the real hard ones right now. So, oh, there's the daily siren. It's police. All right, let's see. Seymour saying Pascal trains with Rico Hines in LA every summer. Stop thinking small. I'm done with on the topic. Smoke time for me right now. Let's go, Raptors, destroy the Magic. There you go, Seymour Pate. There you go. Yeah, go smoke one. I want to go smoke one right now. Actually, I want to finish up. I'm just over 2 hours, and I still have a bunch to do. Monique is saying, "Hey Lex, I saw someone write this the 9 to 5 need Malachi Flynn. Do they really? Please explain." You know what? Actually, that's not a bad idea. Somebody wrote that. I think that they could use somebody from our team down on the 905 level. Maybe they need Christian. Maybe they need Delano back since he's only a second year player. Maybe it's like Nick saying, no, you're going to be just regular roster, but that may be hurting Delano in a way. It could be really smart to keep him down there. I don't know. 905 could use a boost. They do seem like they don't have as much firepower as last year, and losing Saban Lee and just different stuff that's happening with them is showing that they could probably use a boost. And it could be very fruitful for Christian Coloco to go down there and play. Maybe they need to send him down there for a couple of games soon. Delano, go back. Malachi, I don't know. He definitely helped them, though. I really just wanted to see Malachi on the 905 level to see if he could get like 50, 60-point games on that level against that kind of competition. And then I'll feel really good about wanting to have him around. I feel he really missed out on the G League experience as a young player on the Raptors, and we have not completely developed him as well as we could have because he was in Tampa his rookie year, and we didn't have a G League that season. And there's all kinds of things that have kind of hindered his development that he could have got easier if he had more connection to the G League team. And I don't totally understand why Malachi doesn't play down there more. I think that person's right, Monique. That Malachi would do justice for him, and he definitely helped them out. So I don't know what's going on. G saying, I think Delano should have had some time yesterday. He's quick and has height against Claxton. Yeah, once again, I feel like we get Delano in too late or not at all. That in some ways Delano is somebody that we need to try out when we're struggling in all kinds of situations. Just try Delano and see if he's a factor in turning the tide. And because he was in New Orleans and he didn't even play last night, which is crazy. Nako's saying, I love Precious. I miss Otto's offense a little more than Precious's defense. I miss Precious all around, whether it's his defense and his scoring. Coolcast saying Precious Boucher combo is missing big time. Scottie adjusting to NBA point guards. He being a point guard, he looks better as a forward currently. I would put OG on perimeter defense and Scottie in forward for defense. Yeah, in some ways that may be true. The Scottie may be a better in the paint defender than a guard defender. He's going to get beat by smaller guards getting around him to a certain extent. But in some ways, he muscles so well down low with big guys, and maybe you're right that OG should be out there and not down low, and Scottie should be down low on defense. I like that, and it's definitely true. Boucher misses Precious as a tag team partner coming in off the bench. That they just like something about them together that just happens. Things happen real well. Let's see. M. Jones say Scottie is not a point guard or a spot up shooter. Why are we experimenting with our star rookie? Why? What's the point in switching things up? Just when you're establishing it, we need what he provides. Scottie is a point guard, though, and he's going to be our point guard of the future. He self-identifies as a point guard, and he has been a point guard, and he's very good at it. As far as a spot-up shooter, he's still getting his legs and figuring that stuff out. I mean, he had a very wide-open three last night that he nailed, and I really love seeing that. So he's good when he's money and he's open. It's just that he's developing and he's getting better. I mean, we said the same kind of things about Pascal when he was younger, that he shouldn't be shooting outside, that he should only be working inside the paint and doing things down low. Well, he got a three-point shot, and he's developed it over and over time. And Scottie's just got to do the same thing. To be a complete NBA player, you got to be able to shoot three-pointers. So what he's doing right now isn't out of pocket or what he should not be doing, is what he should be doing. Because he's got to get better as a point guard. He's got to get better as a shooter. He's got to continue to work on it. And it's just the hard knocks of developing and having failure mixed with success during the season. And we're just having failure right now. They do need to do this stuff, though, M. Jones. This is what they intended to do with him all along. So It's not that it's weird or he's gonna get it. He'll figure it out. He's gonna get better, and he'll have it all figured out. Trust me. In a couple of years, it'll all be like, wow, there was that dark time in his second year where it seemed like he was going in the wrong direction. We didn't need to let him do this stuff. Well, it's gonna really pay off in the long run. Just trust me on this. It's gonna really pay off. Amari's saying if Pascal dates Kim, I'll disown him. Mari, I don't think they're dating. I really hope they're not. I mean, Pascal lives with his mom. What is she gonna say? She's gonna say, "What are you bringing this hood rat around here for?" It's probably what she would say to Pascal in that situation. Monique is saying it's role development. Usually, it's showing mistakes in one role, but really playing guard now is showing the growing pains of both positions at the moment, with guards and forwards needing different skills. Yeah, yeah, that's a lot of what the stuff's going on with Scottie that Mike's describing there. And Tom Duke saying, "Me too. Got to be fake news." I really hope it is, but Seymour's adamant. It's on TikTok. We'll have to go check. Cool Cat saying, "I'm going to the game tonight. We'll look closely at our floor chemistry after all these injuries. Our players have to understand the refs will be challenging. Ignore and dig in." Yeah. All right, Cool Cat. Bring that good energy down there. I know you were there on Monday night, and it was very helpful to help that good energy. Hopefully you can have a good streak of wins when you're attending the game. So yeah, bring it down there and get loud, and don't let the apathy of some of the non-serious Raptor fans get to us tonight. Really bring that right energy, that belief energy. Even if we're down at times, cheer that defense chant just as loud no matter what, because that's when they really need it. Mike's saying top point attack D isn't it. You want him to go full out when other guys are out, which is against what he needs to do. He needs to maintain to be 100% for playoffs, and him at 75 at the moment. Yeah. I don't know. I understand what Top's saying, because Fred has kind of seemed like not as like on top of things as he has in the past, and that's what's scary about it. And I understand Mike's point too. Is like you don't want to tire Fred out for the whole season and keep him kind of in a good place for the playoffs by the end of the year. So yeah, I can see both points. G saying Barnes wants to play point. This is where the struggle lies. He's a beast in the paint, but he does have great court vision too. However, his dribble and handles need work. Would rather not discourage. Yeah, you want to let him do what he likes to do just to keep him happy partly, but also because he can do it. That there is something about him that's like Penny Hardaway. There's something like Magic Johnson. That tall vision up high is very helpful, and it is something that will really pay off over time. Just trust and allow the process to happen. Monique saying Donovan Bennett also did a great piece on Pascal and Christian. Okay, cool. Thanks for the heads up, Monique. G saying this has become because Ben Simmons never worked in his shooting for fear of backlash, and it never progressed. Yeah, that's a great example G's using. Like if we treat Scottie like they treated Ben Simmons, he may never become a good shooter, and that really is a hindrance for him. He needs to be a good shooter, and he is a good shooter. Honestly, he has a really good mechanics and he has a good form, and he makes a lot of his open shots. Honestly, he's not that bad of a shooter. He gets a knock, and sometimes guys leave him alone. Some stuff just looks real ugly, like a Clorox Shooting Stars competition. But a lot of it looks really good too. So let's see. Omari's saying, I think Scottie needs a month off. He walks like me. Brooklyn looked like what we all thought Brooklyn could look like, and that's scary. Yeah. Yeah, Brooklyn is getting their shit together and they're hitting their stride. And well, it's a long season. Let's see what happens. Lion Hunter saying Scotty's issues aren't health. Your health doesn't explain 7 turnovers. It's a mental block. It happens. He will figure it out. Yeah, he just had he's had a couple bad games. And hopefully he can turn it around tonight against his home state, Orlando Magic. And, he may get up for a game like Orlando. He got up for them last season in a couple of the games that we played against them. So we may see a different kind of Scottie energy tonight, partly because it's the Magic. And he does get up for them. Last year, there was a game in Orlando that he was feeling it. He watched the highlight this summer. And he's like, oh, that was the game I was really feeling it. And I really took it to them. And then the first time he ever played the Orlando Magic here in Toronto last year, I went to that game. And that's the game where he had the 3 dribbles up the court and that amazing dunk. And we won by 1 point against Cole Anthony got stole by Gary Trent at the last second. And that's how we won the game. So there you go. I think you're right. I think it's more mental than physical, but there is a mix of physical ailments also in the whole equation too, for sure. Tom Duke's saying he's got the raw meat and a mouse. I don't want the mice in the pantry. And he's got the pancakes in the maple syrup vat. Okay. And then he's got the 3 place settings. All right. Let's see if they deserve any food tonight. We'll have to find out by the end of the game. Mike's saying, I remember our main superstar player had those same exact issues going into the paint, and it worked out, and now it doesn't have those issues. Relax. We're developing the way it works. Scottie is okay. The development curve of Pascal Siakam was frustrating at different times. The development curve of OG Anunoby has been frustrating at different times. Scottie Barnes will be the same. It's just how it is. And you look and see where Pascal and OG are with their games at this point. It's just part of the travel along the way to get there. So, all right. Mike was the last one. Okay, cool cat. Give guys some grace to figure out their shit. Coaches are back to trying out the combination of players. So many injuries throughout the play book. Pascal OG duo, work around them and to win games. Yeah, I like all that. The cool cat saying, bring that energy tonight. I know you'll be loud. M. Jones saying, we do not need to start out properly and faster. Other than that, we do need to start out properly and faster. Other than that, it really isn't that bad. My only concern right now is Scottie's development. Yeah. Yeah, we got to just have the better start to games. Like, what the fuck are y'all doing? Do you go into a boxing match and let the guy, like, here, hit me 5 times in the face real quick, and then I'll try and come back at you. Okay, boom, boom. You can get knocked out by one of those 5 first punches. Don't even let them hit you first. You hit first. And then you make that defense your best offense afterwards. So we can't even get our defensive offense going when they're hitting first and they're hitting 70 to 80% of their shots. And we can't get anything going. Like, we can't even start the car. It's just sitting in the driveway because we can't get it going. It's really bad. Bradley saying the Raptors are going to barbecue some magic. Can't wait for the hater to talk when we start a winning streak, because it will happen. I like that, Bradley. Mike saying Killer Cat has things nailed. Great take. Project Truth. All right. Top saying logical. I'm keeping the same energy because what Fred needs to do is improve. Hasn't changed since I've been coming to this chat, and he's fully capable of doing it. He just wants to hold Fred to a high standard and wants him to succeed and do good. And that, you know what? I'm not mad or upset with Top at all in his critique of Fred, because Fred does deserve it. And he'd be the first person to admit it right now, that they're playing like shit, like he said last night, and that he has to look in the mirror at himself and what he's been doing. Like, he's had a couple of games where he's only made like 2 points, 10 points. You know, this isn't normal Fred production that we're used to. So he, you know, as much as we're pointing fingers at Scottie, and more recently we pointed fingers at Gary a week or so ago, we got to point fingers at Fred right now because his production is not correct. And there's something wrong. Monique's saying that we appreciate you, Bo Cruz. Yeah, Juancho, we are appreciating you these days. Cowboy saying, I think Scottie's going to be just fine when he's with his development. M. Jones, he's a ninja. I'm more worried about his health. I thought from the start OG would play like this. So give Barnes some time, everybody. And M. Jones saying, agreed. We have to deal with our injured players better. Yeah, we just in and outdoors of different people coming in and going. It's always an adjustment and trying to figure out your rhythm with new people back in the lineup and different things like that. Like we were saying earlier, Cool Cat saying Scottie was telling Pascal where to go. It was not an argument. It was more about communication on placement. When Pascal leaves the game, no one is talking on the court. I hope that's not true. We need everybody to be talking all the time and keeping it together. All right, I'm not gonna let you guys go too much at each other like one-on-one, because honestly, I'm kind of on Top's side in this one, Mike, to a degree, because Fred has shown a lapse in like his defensive like energy and how good he is on defense recently. That's very fair what Top's saying. Now, I won't go as far as like we need to get rid of him though. That's the difference there. But he's saying again, Fred VanVleet is going like 75% at the moment to be able to be 100% later, going 100% early to carry a team that shouldn't need him to at this point. Depth isn't his fault. It's a long game, and Fred is focused. Okay, I can see the points Mike's making there as a counterpoint. But once again, you guys like listen. Let's just agree to disagree, and we have Fred under a microscope to a degree right now, and I'm okay with what Top's doing. Bradley's saying, was that Domi on the sideline? I'm pretty sure it was him. He needs to go to the Raps locker room and show them how to play like a bully. Let's go Raptors and Freaks. I don't like seeing Ty Domi at the courtside with his son Max, because Ty Domi is a former Leaf. And anything Leafs near our team, like there's a couple of things we could point at. Like, what the fuck, OG? Why did you post something on Instagram this week? And like Precious said, you need to cleanse yourself for another 2 years now. Since you posted that, your level of play has gone down. I don't want to look into dumb stuff like the J word, jinx. Like Raymond Jacob has said, oh, we would jinx this, jinx that. Well, there are a couple little things that have been happening around the team that are kind of jinxy, kind of like what OG posting on Instagram all of a sudden. And then I don't like seeing Leafs anywhere near our team, whether they're current or former Leafs. Ty Domi's presence at the game is not good to me. Even though he's like, it's nice to have all these tough guys at the court side for Toronto guys like Oakley and Ty Domi, but he's not necessarily somebody I like seeing at Raptors games. Let's just put it that way. The less we can have Leafs at the game, the better. Because usually when a Leafs at the game, we lose. I'm not going to lie. They had the Leafs, Austin Matthews, and these guys come to the game last year. We lost that game. When I see the Leafs at the game, I don't like it. I don't like it. And anyway, Monique's saying Anunoby career highs this season, 18.7 points per game, 6 rebounds, 2.3 steals, and 1 block, leading the Raptors in points, rebounds, and steals. You go OG Anunoby. Is he really leading our team in points right now? It seems like Siakam should be our points leader. Maybe. Cool Cat saying Oakley didn't agree with foul call on Scottie. Alvin is a gem on broadcast, brings player insight and experience. Pascal said before he listens to what Scottie sees on the floor. Pascal empowers Scottie. Yeah, they're definitely helping each other, and they're not, what Savage was saying earlier is completely off base. They're definitely on the same page, and they're good teammates with each other. Yeah, Oakley was awesome, and Alvin and Oakley together is really fun to hear. Omari's saying Chris and OG are champs too. Yeah, OG and Chris are 2 players that I like to keep on our team also. All 4 of them, Pascal, Fred, OG, and Chris, that those guys were a part of our championship team, and we need those linkages. I mean, look, how many of the champions since the first Golden State Warriors championship with Steph and them are still on that team? There's 4 of them. They're still there too. Draymond, Steph, Clay, and Iguodala. So it's like, you want to keep that continuity, a couple of the pieces that were there and a part of it. It's important. Adriana is going to be here to defend Fred VanVleet, since she's got him on her fantasy team. And also, is one of her favorite players in the league, and she loves Fred VanVleet. You hurt Adriana's feelings, y'all, when you talk so badly about Fred VanVleet top of top. I know Adriana really loves Fred. I know, because I'm around Adriana all the time, and I'm happy to see you here, Adriana, this morning. Go Fred. Let's say that. Mike's saying, I see it like Lex with the point of role reduction. If this year doesn't go well for him, but he deserves a full year look and to see how he does in the playoffs. We can't have both with him clearly. Yeah, that's the thing. Fred's career may be very interesting, because he came from nowhere, came and rose to such a high height, but that doesn't mean he stays at that height if he cannot continue to have that excellence in play. That's part of it, is that you have to continue to get better and stay at that level. And if he can't stay at that level, well, tough titty. This is how it works in the NBA. You might have to be off the bench again, Fred. And that may be what's best for the team. And that's the most important thing when figuring all this stuff out, is what is best for the team. Is it Gary coming off the bench and being a 6-man? That may be. Is it Fred not starting anymore because he's not playing as well as he used to anymore? That's the way we got to look at it sometimes. Lion Hunter saying, I didn't like how many minutes our starters played yesterday with the back-to-back. Sometimes you have to just concede the game and force on the next one. Yeah, that is 2 different ways they could have gone with it, with philosophy at the end of the game last night. Do you really want to leave them out there and make them work to try and get it closer if it's futile? If there's no real chance to win, and you're even like maybe possibly allowing maybe possible injury by having them out working so hard in a game that won't matter because you're going to lose anyway, I can see the logic in that. But I think Nick was really trying to make these guys like get their act together and that the starters, it starts with them because obviously they're the ones who are fucking up by having such a huge deficit put on them right away at the beginning of the game. So yeah, I kind of agree with Lion Hunter. Why did you play them so late last night, Nick? And could we have gotten that deficit closed more with bench minutes on there? I mean, 37 minutes for Barnes, 41 minutes for Van Vliet, 38 minutes for OG, 32 minutes for Siakam. So Siakam was still on his minutes restriction, obviously, because he would have got to 40 minutes. But yeah, maybe that was too many minutes for Fred Van Vliet specifically. 41 minutes last night. Why? Why? Especially when he was not doing very well with Kyrie at all. That why? Why wouldn't you bring in Malachi and try and let him run around after him for a little while and let Fred have a rest? I don't understand that because Malachi and Delano did not play at all last night. And maybe that was a failure by Nick Nurse last night. So I can see what Lion Hunter's saying. Because now we got to play Orlando today. And who knows? Maybe we're going to be playing our bench guys more. And some of those guys that played a lot last night will rest more. Who knows? Blackhawks here. Good to see Blackhawk. We haven't seen him in a bit. Fred Van Vliet was improving before Pascal got hurt. Fred reverted to his normal style play to keep us above water until Pascal returns. The challenge is how does Fred get back on the improvement path? Yeah, I like what you're saying here. He was huge. Like Fred was so good at the beginning of the season, and it really has just been more recently. I mean, since he's been sick, he's had this month-long sickness, and it's really fucked him up. And he's tried to rush to come back because we had so many injuries. That's been part of it too. Is that he's played in games where he's still been sick, and it's just because like that Atlanta game was one of them. That game we just barely lost in Atlanta. He shouldn't have played in that game. But he kind of brought himself back early because we were missing so many guys and we just needed some guys back. And that's part of what's a factor in what's going on right now with Fred is he came back too soon from his sickness and he's still kind of like not feeling well from the sickness. And maybe he's fully like not sick, but he's having conditioning issues from being so sick and tired this past month with having to carry the extra load in Pascal's absence while also having the flu that everybody's had right now. Let's see. Monique saying conspiracy theorists will be out in droves after each game because the Raptors cut deficits to 15. Pascal or Fred would pick up. There's all kinds of like crazy things people are saying right now. Let's just stay focused and stay in the present. Last night. We got Orlando today, and we got to look forward to them. We got to just outplay them, out hustle them, out rebound them, outshoot them, make our free throws, make good rotation decisions. Nick Nurse, keep our guys fresh. Be very inventive. If you're going to change the starting lineup all the time, come up with some really cool starting lineup for tonight that is crafted for the Orlando Magic and what they bring. Let's do all kinds of cool new stuff tonight to help ourselves have the best chance to win, Nick. That is your philosophy. Is I want to make this team have the best chance to win on any given night, whether it's my defensive scheme, who I start, how I rotate them, what I tell my players, all that stuff. You got to get back to the basics yourself, Nick, on that to help them succeed in the best possible. Now, the effort isn't there, and it's the players. It's on them. They got to do it. Obviously, they are the ones who have to do it and execute it. But in some ways, you can still set them up for success easier by doing certain things. So we'll have to see how it goes tonight. My keys to victory are very much out-raptor them once again. That's going to be a verb I'm going to use now. When I say out-raptor them, you know what I mean exactly. Get after the loose balls, be the more energetic, get on the boards, just be the pest on defense, the ones that are just putting more energy out on the court. And we haven't been that in the last two games. The two teams we've seen in the last two games have been out energied us in both games. And that sucks. I hate that. So we got to out Raptor the Magic tonight. And they're dangerous because they can out Raptor us. If they have the kind of makeup on their team in some ways to do some things. All right, let's keep going. Mike saying Blackhawk facts. His overtop passing had better timing, opening the drive lane for him. It's the option he needs to be more effective based on height and pulling height away from his drives more. Y'all are still talking about Fred. Monique saying let's bounce back. Long season ahead. Cool Cat saying Fred Van Vliet was advised to get surgery. He decided to try something else. He might need that surgery after all. That's a good point. I thought he was going to get surgery this summer, but he didn't. I'm like, Fred, why didn't you just get that surgery? Oh, my gosh. He may be regretting it at this point. Mike's saying, interesting. I haven't heard that, Kat. Not gonna lie, I'm gonna have to look into. I'm fairly knowledgeable on injuries. Mom is a nurse and been schooling me. Well, this was the whole thing at the end of last year with the playoffs. I was like, okay, Fred, go get your surgery now and fix your knee. And he never went in. I was like, okay, he doesn't need the surgery to fix it. And he did it just like healing himself. Well, maybe this didn't heal exactly right. And maybe Cool Cat exactly is hitting the nail on the head with the issue with Fred right now. That he should have just went under the knife in May of this year, and he would have maybe been back already, and like things would be way better with this. Man, you know what? I totally forgot about this, and I think she's right. I think she's right. This is may be part of it because this issue is still here, obviously. Bradley's saying, "Have a great day, Lex and Raptor Freaks. Like and subscribe. Every day is a great day. Sorry, I don't watch hockey, Lex. That's all right, Bradley. I don't either, and that's fine." Monique saying, W stream Lex, regardless of the outcome, keep at it, Lex. Go Raptors, stay positive, Raptor fans. I agree with that, Monique, 100%. And thank you, Monique, for doing it also. And you the same thing. You stay positive too. Kareem saying, I understand a team coming back in the fourth quarter, but how can you win quarters 2, 3, and 4 and still lose? We better win this first quarter. These slow starts have been killing us this year. Yes, I feel your frustration, Kareem Thomas, and I completely agree. We may need to actually make it a real point to win first quarters in the next couple of games just because of how the outcomes have happened in the last 2 games. Mike saying, fantastic stream today. No hard feelings. Great discussion. And I hope people learn things and can see the truth better. Always, all that really matters. Project Truth always focus on the real basketball things. Thank you, Mike. And thank you for your part of it. And thank you guys for having a mature discussion and able to disagree and be okay with that. That's important. Bradley saying, let's go Fred, let's go Barnes and Raptors. Hope to see some Banton tonight. Also, let's go Freaks. Keep up the good vibes. Back up. Raptors, I'll be there tomorrow, win or lose. Yeah. Fred mentioned it in his own interview during the summer. Yeah. Yeah. He said that he didn't want to take the knife and he went ahead and just rehabbed it, and that he worked with trainers in a lighter load and let it heal over the summer. He's doing a lot of pool work. He was in the pool lifting balls, doing stuff, trying to have a low resistance like workout in the water and stuff like that. All right, let me see. All right, I guess I got to do the real mascot matchup for tonight. The last time we saw the mascot, he was on the runway and he's about to fight Nurse Annette. He couldn't get the plane to take off, and Harry's kind of staying to the side. Well, he didn't know, but Nurse Annette had something behind her back when she's coming up on him. She had a skillet. She took that skillet and just bam, and he's down. He's out. That's it. He lost that fight. He lost that fight big time. And now Harry and Nurse Annette are dragging him right on back into that room, that awful room that the Raptors have been falling into from time to time this year. That room where the Raptor gets strapped down to the bed and it's a fake sauna room. So there, he's right back where he started. There you go. Well, we'll just have to see what happens. Maybe something magical could happen today to help him get out of there because he's right back where he started. With everything that's happened so far to him, he is right back there. This is the 3rd time he's found himself getting strapped into this bed, unconscious, because he got hit over the head by Nurse Annette with a skillet. Well, the saga is not over yet with Nurse Annette and her fake torturous sauna hospital. All right, well, we'll have to find out what happens tonight. The real mascot matchup. Will something magical happen to help the Raptor get out of this predicament? I hope so. I really do. I really do. Kareem saying, the beginning of the season, Fred took a different role and we were starting to hit our stride. He was creating open lanes and shots. I'm scared Fred may be reverting to his old self. Maybe, anyways, I'm out. That's true, actually, because he came in thinking he was going to be a shooting guard and he was off the ball more. But in panic situations with the Raptors, when everything goes to shit, he has to revert back to being that point guard. And it's really because it's safety valve. It's like, in case of emergency, break Fred out as point guard and running things. And I think that's what's happened here. Now, if we can get back up on the bike and coasting with balance and be okay, maybe we can revert back to all that good stuff we were starting to learn at the beginning of the season with him off the ball as a shooting guard more. It's just that he's been mandatory to kind of do the things that he's had to do in the past. So maybe it'll switch back, Kareem, when everybody's healthy and we're starting to hit our stride again. But I appreciate you guys being here today. Really shitty loss to the Brooklyn Nets last night. It's true. We lose one quarter and you win every other quarter and you still lose the game, and that one quarter is the first quarter, that is really bad. And that's exactly what happened in both of the games that we played the last 2 games. We got to get back on the winning side of things. This is so important. And this is like, it's not even like, all right, if you lose to a team that's this shitty, the Orlando Magic, then we're in trouble. There may be a little bit of ringing the alarm bells tomorrow, but hopefully not. Hopefully we can have a feel good win today, and we'll have a nice stream tomorrow. But if we do lose today, it's going to be dark, and I will please ask you to come and join me anyway, because we're masochists and we'll figure it out, and we'll shine a light even in the darkest of times for the Toronto Raptors franchise. Let's see. Cowboys saying, tomorrow I'm doing a reveal of what sex my kid is, so no matter what, I'll be freaking out. Number 6 for me. Have a great night, everybody. Wow, Bradley, your 6th child. Holy crap. Well, congratulations on that and your gender reveal for tomorrow. Fantastic. Hey, there's some good news right there. And that's what I'm saying. Sometimes in certain areas of your life, maybe there's some dark things, like the Raptors are playing shit and they can't like do well in the first quarter. But maybe you have something fantastic, like what Bradley just explained. So maybe your focus just needs to be diverted to the good things just for a little bit. And you'll come back to the Raptors when they're starting to play better. All right, so just a real quick recap for the injuries today. Otto and Precious are out for the Raptors. And on the other side of things for Orlando, they are missing quite a few guys. Gary Harris is day-to-day, and Mo Bamba is day-to-day now. So there's 2 guys that are, maybe not playing tonight. Chuma Akiki did not play yesterday. He is out. Jalen Suggs is out. Wendell Carter Jr. is out. And Jonathan Isaac is out. So there's quite a few injuries. On the referee report, it is Pat Frere, Lauren Holtkamp, and John Conley are our referees tonight. All right, and I'm just at 240. All right, Jalen Suggs is going to kill us. Watch. I don't think he's playing. Jalen's hurt. He's not playing. So he won't be there, Click. And Click, I saw your message from last night from the very beginning. And I know that you want to stay positive as a Raptor fan, but you are also being constructively criticizing of them. And that is important. Jalen's out. Jalen's out. Tom Duke is he's praying. He's got a wizard. He's got some stars. He's got the starting lineup. Let's go. 555 subscribers must be something magical happening. Congratulations to Bradley. Yes. All right, guys. Thanks once again for joining me for a very painful reaction and preview for the Orlando Magic tonight. We need to win this game tonight so bad, Raptors. We need to stop the bleeding. We need to get back to getting to a good start in the beginning of the game. Let's really focus on starting right tonight, since we haven't been able to do that recently. I believe in y'all. I put my word that y'all are a good team and that you're going to do very well, good things by the end of the year. So please don't make me look stupid, Raptors. Let's get out there and get things done. So please subscribe if you enjoyed my stream today. I know it was a little all over the place and a little bit, but it is what it is. This is difficult times for the Raptors. So enjoy your Saturday. Do whatever you're going to do in a quality way, and hopefully we will get a Raptors win tonight. We just need it. We need it badly. We're going to be back home. They're going to be on the back-to-back too, so there's no excuses about being on a back-to-back. We need to just win. Tom Duke is bringing the heat. I love it. All right, guys, let's go Raptors!